Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Umzansi Esports League Season 3. This is the hottest place you want to be. We are here, courtesy Nodwin Gaming. My name is Dr. Sid, here with two amazing gentlemen, Snare and Actfire, and we are about to bring you some of the hottest action in the esports scene on the African continent. Before we do anything, I want to say welcome, guys, and let's look at the schedule for today. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, in the next 4 to 5 minutes, we will be kicking off with the FIFA 21 match, which is going to be between two of the hottest players on the stream right now. It is going to be the Beast Binachi versus Unfaizdd. It is promising to be an exciting match. After that, we'll be taking a short break, and then we'll be back live with the PUBG Mobile segment with matches coming from Erangel, Sanhok, and Miramar. These matches promises to be some of the most exciting you will ever see when it comes to esports, because it's the final stage of this group before we move into the finals. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's introduce you to the prize pool for Season 3, which stands at a whopping $17,500, with $15,000 going to the PUBG Mobile segment and $2,500. Staying right here with FIFA 21, you already know what it is. The players are playing for some heavy dough. Now, let's take a very quick look at the players who will be going head-to-head today. It is the Beast Binachi versus Unfaizdd. Snare, tell us about these two players. What are we looking at today?
We are looking at one of the most titanic clashes you're going to get here in the Umzansi Esports League. Two players from the same organization, and both of them having excellent reason to put their best foot forward. Unfaizdd, we've seen him trying to climb back to previous glory and claim a championship yet again. And the Beast Binachi, this is the one competition of every competition he's entered in South African esports. He's not been able to put his mark on the Umzansi Esports League just yet, has faltered often in the run-up to the final. So, like you were mentioning, we're getting closer to the playoffs, to the end of the season. Right now, he's on top. He wants to stay on top. So that means that he needs to keep the fire going, especially since he was denied last week the opportunity to make that gap even bigger between himself and the rest of the pack.
Wow, so it is Unfaizdd. But let's take a look at the table. Actfire, what are we looking at with this table right now?
Yeah, definitely. Beast Binachi being on top, you would want to, just stretch that gap a bit more. He has been absolutely outstanding throughout the season, except for that one loss. Maysoon just hanging right there, just behind him. Also has just played 5 matches. Divac too has been great, but he's played more matches than a couple of the rest. Unfaizdd last week had an outstanding win against Mayhem, and he's looking to just ride on, that play and just increase his tally on board there. So this is an important match for both of them. Unfaizdd could just be, even on points right there with Beast Binachi if he does, scale through, and win this match. So it's a really interesting one to see. Yeah.
And I know we were looking last weekend and doing some mathematics and trying to find out the maximum number of points that players could get before the round is over. And looking at the scores right now, we know that Unfaizdd can get a maximum of 15 points. So this is very important to take this win against Beast Binachi, because he can definitely secure his place with 2 wins in the next round, at least with 1, with Masum only being able to get a total of 16 points. So this is very interesting where we are at. There's so many possibilities looking at who can make it. We obviously know it's over for Darth Mayhem and Bobo Beast as well. So it's left between Unfaizdd, Young Savage, and possibly Mobizilla, looking to see how they can make it in. But there's also a possibility that if Bobo Beast can win his next 2 matches with a hefty scoreline, he can probably take Divac out as well. So all the possibilities are there as we're looking at this table and prepping for the match. Boys, I want to ask you very quickly, as I always do when we get to this point of the day. Sean, what's your prediction for today?
This one, I have a feeling. So we actually had a very close tie last weekend as well, right? When we saw Divac taking on Masum. And I think we have the last week it was interesting because they have somewhat similar play styles, right? Extremely clinical, develop the ball a lot, but primarily just trying to always score. Every pass is in service of trying to get a goal, and both of them not very risky in terms of their shots, right? Today we have somewhat of the opposite, where these players, neither of them are satisfied unless they're scoring goals and as many of them as humanly possible. We know we've seen that from the Beast, right? And his frustrations have only happened in this competition when he wasn't scoring goals. For Unfaizdd as well, we've seen him slowly but surely. The games where he's looked dominant is where he starts a bit slowly, but then starts to just score goal after goal after goal in a way that you just can't really prevent. So I think this one, I actually think it's going to be a draw. I think either 3-3 or 3-2, but it feels very close between these guys.
This is very interesting. I like that. He calls it a draw, a high scoring draw. Let's leave you that as your prediction. Tony, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking it might go the way of Beast Binachi. There's this thing sometimes where it takes Unfaizdd a couple of minutes or a little while to get into the game, where he sort of tends to study his opponent, and that may work against him with Beast Binachi if he does go behind early on. With and that's what happens in FIFA sometimes. You go behind and then you may not get the opportunity to get back into the game.
Okay, let's see as we are getting ready to see the matches go live. Tony thinks the Beast Bianchi is going to take it. What's your scoreline? What are we looking at? What's the scoreline looking like, Tony? You have to give us a scoreline. Sean says 3-3. Sean says 3-3. This is a high scoring draw. What are you looking at, Tony?
I'm looking at more like 3-2. 3-2 with Beast Bianchi taking it away.
To the Beast Bianchi. Not more? You don't think there are going to be more goals?
Nah, I don't think it's going to be that much. But I think Unfaizdd will fight back. But it's not going to be a lot.
Unfaizdd will fight back. So now, doing this, I'm going to throw it in there. Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready to go into the match. I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in the whole works and tell you that Unfaizdd is going to take this 4-1.
4-1.
Okay.
Wow. Right. Handing over to you guys. I will talk to you right after the game. See you soon.
Thank you, Dr. Sid. And no pressure on you, Unfaizdd. You just have to succeed in scoring 4 goals, with 3 going unanswered. Easy task against the Beast, right? There should be no complication here. Easy, Tony.
That's all. I mean, the thing is, it's very hard to guess between these two players who is going to take it home. They're both good in attack. They're both good in defense. I just personally feel like Beast, has it more together than Unfaizdd sometimes this season. Just managing, his attack, his defense. A lot of times it seemed like Unfaizdd had to come back from, being in the back foot. It does seem like he can get a little bit, tricked in defense right there. So yeah, it's really hard. It's really tough. They're both outstanding players. So yeah, it's probably one of the highlights of the season.
It's going to be definitely difficult to guess exactly which way this goes, but so far we do see things mostly bogged down in the midfield. You were mentioning actually how Unfaizdd likes to feel out his opponents as time goes on, and I think for the Beast, he prefers to be able to score very early, so it's kind of interesting that for Unfaizdd, his objective is keep the game going until at least about halftime without any goals, and the Beast wants to score quickly and early, but Unfaizdd, he's the one that made the first attacking run, didn't end up succeeding at the end of the day. This is one of these games where both of these players are also extremely aware of each other's playstyles. So we're not going to be expecting too many surprises, right? It's going to be this thing of like, okay, you know what I can do, I know what you can do. Let's just see who's executing at a higher level today.
Yes, exactly. It all comes down to this fine margins. Who does take their chances? I mean, you can't afford to miss, your chances here. You can't afford to give things, to the opponent. No mistakes. Silly passes and all that stuff. So yeah, it's really going to be tight, as we can already see.
Right now, though, the deadlock might be broken as Unfaizdd gets a pass through onto Ronaldo. Bamba trying to occupy some space in the middle of the park. Not really able to do so in an effective way, so things still getting choked out for Unfaizdd, but he's okay with this. Like you mentioned, he's definitely a student of the game. Takes time before he starts exploding. Once he starts, he never wants to stop, but he wants to be certain of exactly what he's doing. Now on the touchline, still on the ball somehow. Bamba only now gets dispossessed, but definitely making the Beast sweat just for a second there. He wasn't happy with what had taken place, but did manage to regain possession, and he can start playing things out slowly but surely from there.
Yeah, and you can see the way the Beast, just defended right there, just covering all possible angles and places that he could go through, choking up the spaces and just leaving room for nowhere, for Unfaizdd to play. But right now we're seeing this might be
Offside. Referee. Thank you, referee. Thank you, referee. That was I feel like that's one of those situations where he was okay, to be fair, just a touch offside in the initial run. If he just a bit more patient, maybe it's a goal, but come on, man, we don't want to go too early. Want the tension to build. So thank you, ref, keeping the game exciting. Something else that's kind of exciting is that we see that the Beast throughout the competition has been making use of some of the more niche players. Nani, he's still holding extreme faith in. Someone who's been in and out of his team has been Luka Modric, and he's made the inclusion here today, taking out, I believe he's not playing with Renato Sanchez, which has been another one of his staples. So what do you think of this decision to rather have the more creative-minded player instead of getting the super efficient DM that is Renato?
I think the goal against a player like Unfaizdd is create as much chances as possible, hold on to the ball, because he does know, one of the strong points of Unfaizdd is, just being able to hold on to that possession. So he probably is thinking, the best form of attack is defense and holding on to that ball as much as possible. And he's trying to, just play with players that give him that same sort of skill and opportunity.
Speaking of opportunities, the Beast on the ball now. It's actually really ironic that as you were saying this, he took off Modric. Well, Modric is still okay. He's playing both of them. It's all fine. Is that going to be your own goal? No. Ooh, imagine our own goal. We haven't seen one just yet. I believe we'll do at least one per season. It would be very painful if it happened here. Ends up not being the case. Nani. It's the ball to Mbappe. Can he find a way through? Trying to overload this attack, but needs to be wary of losing the ball as a result. Phoenix can't find a way through the defense. Still with this interplay. Making sure not to give up this possession, but at the same time, trying to maintain defensive shape. Can he explode forward? Renato running onto the edge of the box, but nope. Says Unfaizdd, lives up to the name. And how many times have we seen this, Tony? Where he just does this exact thing, trying to just pressure out on the defense. Even these skill moves, he is completely unfazed. Just easily scoops up the ball, plays it out.
Yeah, exactly. The two players, just seem to have a really good understanding of, each other's gameplay. It just feels like I'm watching the same player on both sides.
Just playing on back-to-back in different ways. Mbappe on the ball now, looking for this aggressive run forward. Doesn't get anywhere. I mean, how many times have we seen that exact move peter out, suddenly turn into just try transition through onto the other side of the flank? That side gets tackled out by Scott Tierney or Kieran Tierney. Done. Easy. Now we're going to run this back. And Unfaizdd doesn't seem like he's going to be able to find the ball either. Same situation. Same tackle. Same mishaps. Pure mirror match. It's wonderful to see.
Exactly. A lot of mind games going in this particular game. It does seem like they're stopping each other before the moves are already being made. Just blocking those holes. As you can see right there. It's just a really great match between these two players, and it's as tight as we did predict on initially. But I did think we would have had a goal by now. It just shows how great they both are.
Slowly but surely, this situation has tended to benefit Unfaizdd on the balance of the tournament thus far. If things continue as they are, he might be able to eke out a small goal win later in the game. We've seen him do it before, but we've also seen him get more demolition. Now Ronaldo in the box. Ronaldo with a shot. Cannot get past Kasper Schmeichel. Curves it past the goal. Stays 0-0, Tony. Stays 0-0.
Yeah, it does still 0-0. Schmeichel is a really difficult keeper to put the ball in the back of the net off. So yeah, that's definitely expected right there with that save and that angle. But man, has this been tight? Has this been really tight? I was thinking it would be a 1-1 by now, but both of them are attacking really well, going forward and defending, with that absolute amount of concentration. It's really lovely to see.
I can understand why both these players are making sure to play effectively, perfectly, right? The stakes are pretty high. For the Beast, he wins, he's clear. Guaranteed playoffs and guaranteed a very sizable lead over the opposition. If Unfaizdd wins, he's number 1 potentially, depending on the goal difference. Otherwise, he's guaranteed second. Either way, you're through to the playoffs. If it's a draw, suddenly everything is different and everybody else is still in play. So There's a lot of stress in this kind of matchup. I think things are a little bit easier when it's clear what you're playing for, but when any one goal can make the difference for not just yourself, but a whole host of other players and implications for the playoffs, I can understand being this patient. So maybe we should revise our initial predictions for high-scoring draw to maybe be like 1-0 or something. We should treat this instead of a Umzansi Esports derby. Think about it as a Soweto derby and we'll be okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's beginning to seem like, you know, these players are not going to give each other, you know, a chance. But I'm still saying, you know, games like this could explode once you have one goal at the back of the net, and it just opens up everything. So yeah, I'm still keen to say, you know, we might still be able to get, you know, 4 goals out of this game.
Felix on the ball now. The Beast still trying to get the 4-1. Or at least a 1 from that 4-1 that Dr. Sid predicted earlier. See how it's going right now. Opening goal hasn't happened just yet. Playing slowly but surely on the flank now. So it looks like he's going to try and use these defenders to make more overlapping runs. There is some risk of having them being caught out when they're trying to track back. Wasn't caught out in that situation, but I don't think Unfaizdd was necessarily prepared for this tactical switch up. But now Unfaizdd taking advantage of a small hole. Can he get in here? Ronaldo. We've seen that before, Tony. The Ronaldo somehow stealing a goal from the middle of the air by Unfaizdd himself. This time around, though, the Beast keeps his defense secure. The lock is not broken.
Yeah, it's incredible to see how much he was able to concentrate in that particular position and still track back, you know, that run from Ronaldo. That would have been, you know, a clear chance for him. Once he gets his opportunities, he does usually put them at the back of the net, and probably Unfaizdd was just trying to switch things up right there. Man, I'm not even sure, man. It just feels like I'm just watching 2 really intelligent players, you know, who are ready to build up their gameplay and just find that loophole. It's all down to fine margins and who does take their chance when it comes, because it will definitely come.
Let's see how it's going to occur here. Tierney. Also now we see overlapping runs coming in from the defenders for Unfaizdd, utilizing the tactics of his opponent. And now the back heel pass to Ronaldo. Ronaldo, can he keep possession of it? He can. He gets the goal. He opens the score sheet with some phenomenal footwork in the box. Steals it away. Doesn't need his head to pick the lock. His feet will do the trick this time.
Damn, that is exactly what you need as a champion. Those are the things you need. That was incredible. I'm not sure we could have really taken that footwork. Man, my goodness. And now we have the game in our hands.
Absolutely. The Beast knows that he needs to chase this game right now. I mean, at the same time, provided he doesn't lose by too many goals, he still stays in first place. But being tied for first and only being ahead on goal difference, not a great feeling. And of course, like you mentioned, Unfaizdd, once he starts scoring, can start opening up the game a bit, because he knows that he's in a dominant position, he's in a comfortable position. Just keep doing what he's doing. And not enough time left for the Beast to have that many answers available, unless he can score soon and very soon. Opportunity might come now as João Felix gets past the defender almost, but Vieira, it's too good, man. His card is too good. Holds it down on the back four. Make sure that there's no goal score.
Yeah, definitely. Not a lot of players can keep their nerves when they go down. And I do feel like this is sort of like going to, you know, just break the thinking and armor for Beast. And we may start to see those loopholes. As you can see right now, we don't face just moving it right there. Trying to get in that pass, but it does miss that opportunity. And I do feel like this is where we're going to now begin to see, you know, those spaces on both sides even.
I kind of feel like in that situation, like you mentioned, it's a missed opportunity, and it feels like Unfaizdd wasn't necessarily prepared for how he was able to get past the final defender. He had more space than he thought, ends up outplaying himself and giving some hope to the Beast, because if that goal had gone in, it would have been really a difficult situation to come back from. However, as it stands, things still going. 24 minutes left. Well, not 24, 14 minutes left. What am I talking about, man? Math has been difficult today. What's going on? Game's about to end, though. At the end of the day, with this much time remaining, if you're Unfaizdd, we haven't really seen him utilize that many game management tactics, right? But against the opponent of this caliber, what do you think, Fire? Is this the time we see him say, you know what, even me, it's okay, I'll waste the time to get this W?
I mean, yeah, definitely. Wasting that time, making sure he gets the win is really important because you're not going to get a lot of chances from the Beast. And knowing that he'll be trying to get back into the game, it's really important to just take, I mean, we know he can hold up that possession. So to just keep the ball as much as he can, just seal this game in the back and not concede. Yeah.
I wonder what we're going to see the changes in now from the Beast in terms of his own tactics. We've seen him already try to utilize the more aggressive runs with the defenders. Hasn't really worked out that well. We need to see a different look here. And you never really be in a situation where you play desperately either, because that's a situation where you open yourself up to be exploited. And long pauses happening. People are making the final decisions. Both players realize what's at stake here. Do not think that, as much as Unfaizdd is happy about being 1 goal up, I do not think this is also the time for him to maybe start putting up the pressure, maybe get a second goal going into the next leg, because we've seen that 1 goal difference against this Julio the Beast Binachi, unless it's 90 minutes in leg 2, doesn't really make that much of a difference.
Yeah, it doesn't. Well, it just shows how great a player Unfaizdd is. He's not had the best of luck, but I feel like just coming in, especially from last week, the confidence, is back, especially from that win, and yeah, he would, just want to ride on and continue with that, showing that he can get the goals, he can score, he can push on any opponent. He knows how great he is. He's a champion, so yeah, if we can get this win, I feel like that would just open up things for him in the entire season, and we may see, that dominance that we did see from him, last season again.
Listen, I've been shilling for Unfaizdd since season 1, so you do not have to convince me that we need to get that fire going here. And now we're in, Unforced, and back on the game. Unfaizdd himself is on the ball at present, but Julio, extremely aggressive tackle there. This might open up a chance if Euphoric can just find the angle for a pass. He was crowded out for it, so the sliver of a chance might be gone. But he's still going to try for it. Messi lays it off back to Mbappe, trying his best to run the ball up. Mbappe back on the touchline, receives the ball from Nato Sanchez into Euphoric. Not going to get muscled off the ball just yet. Dribbling past 3 defenders by himself, the Beast.
Ooh.
It has to come to an end eventually, though, as flashy as that was.
Ooh, that was extremely close. For a second there, I did think that Messi was going to get on that ball. And that partnership between Brendan Sanchez, Messi, and Mbappe just seemed like it was going to lead to a chance. But it's just so incredible how Unfaizdd just keeps on, blocking those spaces, not making the tackle too early and just making it right at the very perfect second. I don't think I've seen him be this cautious in his defense.
Well, he hasn't played a matchup of this importance before. He's playing it now, though. Let's see if he can get himself into the second leg with a 1-goal lead. He prevents Euphoric from stepping over him. Gets the leg out at the final second, and it keeps this 1-0 lead intact somehow.
I mean, the Beast has it all to play for right now. This is the very second where he needs to get that ball in the back of the net. But it just feels like, yeah, Unfaizdd just came with a plan. I'm going to be solid at the back. I'm going to get that 1 goal. And it was just a game between 2 incredible players.
This is one of those rare games that we get to have where, even though it's very low scoring, 1-0 at the very end, it's extremely exciting because it's not like it's just entirely bogged down in midfield. Everyone's attacking. Every tackle is extremely precise. Every time that somebody's getting on the ball, you know that they're having a mind towards, how do I get past this guy? How do I score this goal? But pretty much every tactic applied doesn't work. I mean, how rare is it that we have a situation, right, where the 1 goal that does get through is kind of a situation where Unfaizdd is, real talk, that should have been a defense that's happened, but what are you supposed to do when somebody has the Ronaldo card stealing a goal in that situation? And at the same time, the Beast almost pulls it back with an amazing dribble of himself past 3 defenders. Either of those situations could have been the game winner. One of them was. And this, like you were saying before the match, in FIFA, these situations just happen, and sometimes it's very difficult to control for or even prepare for, no matter what you do.
Yeah, you can try as much as possible, create the chances, get into that final third, but sometimes the ball just probably hits the back of the net. There's one player who just blocks an angle and the keeper punches it out. It's all down to those fine margins at the end of the day, and that's just what's played out here. They're two incredible players. I can't see anything wrong on both sides. It was just an amazing moment from Unfaizdd with that footwork, and it just ended up at the back of the net. So, yeah.
We shall see whether or not the Beast is going to be able to get at least one back into the back of the net. A draw, he won't be happy about it, but it'll be good enough to keep him at the top of the table. As it stands right now, he's still at the top given the goal difference, but Unfaizdd, if everything stopped right now, would be second. And he also wants first, so that means that the next leg, neither of them have an opportunity or will have an inclination towards playing defensively. They want to chase the game. You want to be winning. You want to be victorious. So given that we're not going to be seeing, I doubt anybody trying to stay and hold on defensively in the leg number 2, who do you think is actually going to have enough momentum mentally to carry them past the finish line as we go into the second leg?
I think being a goal ahead definitely mentally is Unfaizdd, and also it doesn't help Beast, knowing that Unfaizdd, the way he plays, he's calm, right? He's always Unfaizdd. So he can soak up that pressure. It's what he's done, time after time, So yeah, he definitely does have the advantage because of his play style and the fact that he's ahead. He's going to have those spaces, when he's making this counter. So I feel like Beast is going to come out attacking while he's going to be on the counter and most likely get another goal. I know I did predict for Beast to win, but just judging where we are at right now, I do think Unfaizdd may just take home this one with 2 goals. Yeah.
Well, we're going to be seeing whether or not he's capable of doing that and putting the Beast away, putting it down. As we go into leg number 2. This is it. The Beast wins here. He's number 1, clear and clear. It is, I believe, mathematically impossible if he wins here for anybody to catch up to him. However, any other result keeps the drama alive here in Season 3 of the Umzansi Esports League. So for all the neutral fans, we know that they are rooting for Unfaizdd.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone will be rooting for Unfaizdd to get the points right here. And it does seem like he's already on the way to do that. But really, you never know what tricks the Beast has up his sleeves. And it's really interesting, his choices, with Nani, Renato Sanchez. I mean, you would expect that he would probably be using players like, Ronaldo. But, I mean, why do you think he's choosing to go with, Bambi, Felix, and Co?
I think over the weeks, we've seen him prioritize versatility a lot. And not just picking a player who's extremely good at one particular portion of the pitch. He wants to be able to, at any given point, be threatening with all 11 of the players that he's using. So I think he's been prioritizing that balance. And I think that's why he is, of all the players, been tinkering the most with his squad. But it's been working. It's been giving him results. He's also the player that's at the top, undisputedly, for that exact reason. He's taken the time to think about and experiment exactly what each card does, what each player contributes to the team. And the balance has largely worked out for him. It's only now that he's getting in front of a very large roadblock. To be fair, these last 2 weeks have been a bit rough for him, but it also comes off the back of a very long stint at the top, and that tends to make people study you more, target you more. And in many respects, seeing this matchup adopt your playstyle and very successfully use it against you.
Yeah, definitely. It does seem like the two of them have a lot of similarities in their gameplay and understanding of how each other plays. But I just still, again, I have to just take it down to, just taking your final chances when you do get them. Because on both sides, they're defending extremely well. But it will be interesting to see who does get that next goal. It's going to be a really tight game.
Renato Sanchez now for the Beast. Still searching for his first one, just to draw this one out, keep things a little bit tighter. One thing that is going to be scary for Unfaizdd is that the Beast is playing with a lot of intent so far. You can see that mentally, he's ready to score a goal, ready to score as many as humanly possible. He's in that mode right now. The only question is, can Unfaizdd keep him out. Oh my goodness, what a tackle from Renato Sanchez. That could have led into an opening for Bamba to run down the flank. But now Julio's in with his own Bamba, looking potentially for a goal. And the scary thing is, you know, for Unfaizdd, look at the momentum here in the second leg. So far, he's just been mostly on the back foot. He's been counter-attacking, but not really been allowed to develop the ball in the exact way that he wants to.
Exactly, just like we said initially, he will set himself up, you know, to get in those counters. He'll soak up the pressure and just look to get into that final third with Ronaldo right here, getting that cross in. Oh my goodness! For a second there, it did look like the ball was going to get into the back of the net. Oof.
So many goals that we've seen coming in from Ronaldo in that exact situation. This time around, though, ends up not being the case. Still, we stay at level pegging for this particular leg, but 1-0 overall for Unfaizdd. Lots of time remaining here for the Goliath man of Julio the Beast Bianchi. Doesn't have to stress himself out, but at the same time, he has to be worried about maintaining his defensive posture, right? Because all it takes is one additional goal from Unfaizdd to massively increase the burden on the Beast's shoulders. And now the shot, that was a bit of desperation there, but I think you're just trying to make sure that he's not just possessed, buy a bit more time, and there's no opportunity now for a counter-attack from the Beast.
Yes, exactly. That does shape his defense up properly, and he's not getting countered, like you have said. But man, this game, it just like I feel like every time the Beast goes forward, I'm just seeing exactly the same gameplay. It's just so incredible how alike they are in their styles. And oh my goodness.
That interception. What? Are you kidding me? Now it's turned into a counter-attack on Unfaizdd. We were just talking about it. He only needs one counter-attack. Ronaldo gets crowded out. Can't lay it off to old Ronaldo. So it stays without him being able to get a goal. Incredible attempt though, but also really good understanding of what he needed to do in that situation for Julio. He made sure not to open up the double space. He man marks individually, cut off the angle for a further run, and make sure that the shot is super difficult to take. So even though he's caught out by an extremely good pass, he's not in a position where he actually fears a goal coming through, unless it's a goal of similar caliber than the one we've seen already, which it ended up not being the case. So it stays yet again at fire. No, here in leg 2.
Yeah, and I think the difference between these two players is just the way they are set up in front of goal. You know, having Ronaldo there with that pace just made it impossible for the defender right there. And you could see how he did win the ball, and he's doing it here again.
Ooh, what? That save. Oh my goodness. A save of note that was, and it keeps the entire game in balance. Provided he's not letting goals through, the Beast is going to keep this one entertaining until the very last moment. Right now, Unfaizdd will be happy to get into the second leg. If nothing else, the more time goes by, the happier he is moment by moment. So let's see what he's going to be able to accomplish on the defense here as the Beast. Madras lays it off to Bamba. Bamba, can he get past Wan-Bissaka? Not really able to. And Wan-Bissaka not only defending in the middle of the box, but tracking back for the interception. Are you kidding me? That was actually so sick in
And then this scoreline does not tell you the entire full story. But you can see over and over again, Unfaizdd has been solid in defense, and then with that counter attack, keeps creating chance upon chance. He's been a little more adventurous in the way he attacks, because you can see that he's taking shots from angles where, you know, he normally won't. He knows, you know, the keeper's probably going to punch it out, or most likely going to go, you know, out of the net. But he's just doing that, you know, just to keep the pressure on. And yeah, it does seem like it's working for him. It's still, you know, it still has to lead.
Right now, the intention for him is going to be to extend that lead as much as he can, or end it. Either way, well, he wants to extend it to take over Julio, but either way, he's happier than when he came into today, so he's just looking for bonuses at this point. Julio, a lot to do now, and only one half remaining for him to do it. We've seen him in these clutch situations come up before, and he's going to make a slight tactical adjustment here. Let's see if it's going to end up panning out for him. Very deep ball. Can't keep on it though with Nani. And sadly ends up giving it over for a throw-in. And this could be a little bit dangerous, because I don't think that he's fully settled in on the new formational changes just yet. So this might be a time for him to be exploited by Unfaizdd, who's trying to get in on their counterattack. Slowly, but so now, what do you think now, Tony? If you're Unfaizdd, right? Or not, if you're Unfaizdd, obviously your idea is just score goals at this point, and you don't even care actually if you're scoring. It's just attack, honestly, because even if you're not scoring the goal, the possession staying in your favor keeps Julio from doing it. But if you're Julio, given what we've seen, given all the ways he tried to break down Unfaizdd here, how on earth do you advise him if you're the coach here of exactly what to do next?
Like you said, it's just the best form of attack is the best form of defense is attack, and just keep going, just keep attacking, but remain solid in that defense. Don't break as much as you can, don't give out too much spaces, and you can see that already is affecting him here. And he needs to sort of like try and manage this ball.
Bamba with the goal there. As you were talking about it, Julio just explodes onto the pitch. He gets in the box, lays the ball perfectly into the middle of the box. Mbappe in that position, not immediately crowded by defenders, is never going to miss. Gets the goal. It's 1-1 now. And unfortunately, this means that Unfaizdd no longer has access to the full points that he wanted. But this brings the game back into an exciting place, because one more goal from either of these gentlemen could really change the entire character of this matchup. Like you were mentioning earlier, the scoreline does not tell us the actual story of this game. How on earth, after all we've seen here, is it only 1 goal apiece?
Yeah, I don't understand it myself. I mean, just those two players have been absolutely outstanding, and I definitely still see a goal in this game. Who's gonna get that goal? I'm not sure. But these two players, both in defense and attack, are very evenly matched. It's all down to who just takes their chances at the end of the day.
It has indeed been a game about moments more than anything else. Well, solid play, but the goals have been defined by moments. And who's going to have the next one is unknown. But we see that the Beast's going to undo some of the changes that he made earlier. Having accomplished them, now it's time to play a somewhat different style. See if that's also going to yield similar results. Let's see if time will tell.
Yeah, you can see right now that he's trying to make sure that he tightens up that defense by having his strikers drop back a little bit to provide that support that he does need. And yeah, that may work for him. But he also needs to make sure that he's getting that ball high up the pitch so that he's not putting pressure on his defenders. And the Beast is not getting that ball into the final third as often as he wishes.
The Beast on the ball right now, Modric. Slowly but surely, they're trying to develop the ball. The interplay between him and Nani not going to be good enough just yet to break down Unfaizdd on this flank. So we're going to start seeing tactics that haven't been adopted since the first half. He recycles the ball onto the other flank, tries to run it down from this direction. He did score a goal from here last time, so maybe this is the weak link in the Unfaizdd defense. Bamba, the goal scorer, back on the ball. Trying to dribble his way past. Doesn't see a way through, but gets it into Felix. Only one defender. That one defender's gonna falter. And Julio, the Beast Binachi, gets an amazing goal with Felix and puts this game potentially beyond doubt here, Tony.
Oh my goodness. Remember what we did say before this game started? We were just thinking it was going to probably end in a 2-1 situation. And that's exactly what we have right here. The Beast is coming back. The Beast is coming back and gets in, getting the equalizer and getting the next goal just shows how incredible he is, especially mentally, to be able to, just withstand all the pressure of being behind, soak up all that pressure, get back into the game, control the game, and still be explosive enough. I mean, I would say I didn't expect it. I didn't see it coming. Him getting back into the game, but it just shows why he's on top.
And with this victory here, he'll be staying on top. After this victory, he'll be 15 points up. Very, very far ahead. Looking quite good. And now, only a few minutes left, and he doesn't have to worry because he's in possession right now. Provided it stays this way, there'll be no path back for Unfaizdd into this competition. Keeps the ball still. Looking for one potential attack, one final way to put the nail into the coffin. Wan-Bissaka though gets a dispossession, but it only draws a free kick. This is not in a position where he can easily score from, but he maybe could set this one up. And nope, gets dispossessed. Tony, is this the one? Will it happen? Bamba gets past this man. He's making this run. Renato Sanchez also past this man. Ronaldo's also past this man. Ronaldo's in the box. Ronaldo gets a goal. Are you kidding me?
Time minute.
Unfazed.
Whoa.
Unfazed. Live up to the name, my friends. Oh my goodness, that was incredible. What a player.
Oh my goodness.
What? At the 90th minute, Unfazed pulls this one back against his compatriot in GG, making it 2-2 right now. With only 1 minute of added time, there's just no way that the Beast will be able to get past this. And Unfazed, willing to play a ball out into touch, he says, you know what? I will take the draw. It's acceptable, it's fine. I stole it away from you, but it's mine now. And Giulio the Beast Bianchi, for the second week in a row, denied victory here towards the end of the Umzansi Esports League.
Man,
Wow.
I did see that coming. That was incredible. I mean, I did see, you know, one of them getting the win, but I mean that final goal from Unfaizdd just shocked me again, and that just shows you, you know, why both of these players are, you know, where they are. They're both incredible players. It's just a matchup between two champions. That's just what it is, and it was really lovely to see.
Somebody called it. Somebody called it.
I mean, I was
Somebody
the
called it.
closest. Right?
I'm just gonna say. Somebody called it.
Yeah.
2-2, relatively high scoring. That is just unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Beast Bianchi versus Unfazed. 2-2. The points are shared. What does our table look like? This is crazy. I'm telling you, everything is just up in the air right now. So we have the Beast Bianchi with 13 points, which makes it so tight right now. Unfazed moves up into third position with 10 points and a game in hand. It is not looking nice for Divac. He has to pray that Moby's a young savage and Bobo Beast have some really terrible. This is hot. This is fire right now. Masoom has 2 games in hand. He can go top by winning his games or winning 1 win and 1 draw, and he will go top. And I think at that point in time, he's definitely safe. I mean, right now, he's definitely safe. That goal difference looks insurmountable. Oh my God.
I just love the fact that we're going into the final couple of weeks of the league and we still don't have a certified guaranteed top 4. That's how you know that the competition is extremely tight, that everybody is at an incredibly high level. That, I mean, Bobo Beast in 7th place, you were mentioning it now. Divac, one of the people that we all thought had a really good chance of ending top 2, could be knocked out by the guy who's sitting at 7th right now. We just don't know what's going to happen.
You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. If he wins his 2 games with a high goal difference, he will end up in 4th place. That's just the way it stands right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the fire is on. The game is looking like it is going to be the hottest stuff going on right now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the action that is the Umzansi Esports League. If you are missing it, this is season 3 brought to you by Nordwing Gaming. My name is Dr. Ted. I want to say big thank you to Sean and Tony for bringing all the action in that really, really, really exciting game. People left it till late, but as we can see, it is what it is. This is the drama. We're going to take a quick break right now, and when we'll be back with the PUBG Mobile action, and we'll see you later. But never left, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Umzansi Esports League Season 3, brought to you, of course, by Nodwing Gaming. Welcome to the PUBG Mobile segment, and welcome DK and Patchy, two of my favorite people. I say this all the time because they bring the best analysis and the best casting when it comes to PUBG Mobile on the African continent. Hi, gents. How are you doing? Hope you had a great week. We are back for some more action. Woo! Okay, let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the schedule for tonight.
Yeah, like we never left. It's going to be the exact same schedule that you all know and love, of course, or at least that you all know. It's going to be Erangel. First up is the upcoming game that we're going to be heading into very shortly. And then, of course, after the break, after that game, it's going to be Sanhok to round things out and get things nice, close, and really up in your face. And then, of course, to end things out for the evening, the final game right after that will be Miramar. So it is going to be nice and enjoyable for every type, every style of game that you could possibly want to see. Hopefully, we've definitely been seeing some interesting stuff over the last few weeks. It's been quite up and down for a lot of teams. But speaking of, we've of course got that prize pool. Just in case you forgot what these teams were fighting for, $15,000 is the PUBG Mobile segment prize pool right here. Absolute insanity. And of course, that will definitely get some motivation up into some of those teams for trying to make it up into the outside of the relegation. And speaking of making it out of the relegation, up that leaderboard, here is that leaderboard with Gamers Unite Nation sitting all the way at the top, 240 points, followed very, very closely by Undisputed AE with 239 points for themselves. Absolutely nuts here. Those numbers looking really, really high. Pain Africa coming in third place, really giving us quite a show for themselves, proving that they are quite a team to be reckoned with, coming in at third place with 187 points. So that's your top three right there. Of course, moving down, we've got Ultra 6 in 4, Immortalz in 5, and some other teams moving down in that first page as well that I didn't get to see. Then, of course, G3 up in 9th position there. They've had a little bit of a struggle of their own, and not on that first page, unfortunately for them, but they did manage to make it up to the top of the second page at least, and of course they are in safety for the time being. But as we move down the list, of course, NFxUnique in 10, Lag in 11, BBC in 12, 4KT in 13, we've got Young Thunder in 14, we've got Scincerity in 15, and Black Clover in 16, but that's where the good news ends, because of course after this, things are getting a little bit testy with the teams moving into that relegation page, which we do find Euphoric Guards sitting at the top of 17. For them, we've got 18th position is Fear. In 19th, we've got Rainbow Six Madagascar. In 20th, we've got Not Gaming. In 21, we've got the Natural Killers. In 22, the Comfy Cartel. In 23, Rain from Hell. And in 24, we've got the Drogons. So lots of struggling happening here and there. Certainly, all these teams not in the position that they want to be. But we have seen teams moving themselves out of that relegation page and with quite some success. So it's definitely possible. And the only way it is possible is getting those points. And this is how you get them. First place, of course, that chicken dinner bringing in 15 points. Second place will get you 12. Third gets you 10. Fourth gets you 8. Fifth gets you 6. Of course, 6 gets you 4. 7 gets you 2. And then between 8 and 12 gets you 1. For 13 to 16, of course, no points are awarded. And then, it is 1 kill, 1 point. And that is the juicy one right there. That is the encouragement to get fighting, to get things going. Certainly the reward for the efforts. And these are the guys who have really been putting those efforts in. It is the kill leaders, the top 4 kill leaders for the groups remaining here in this round. Starting off with Nerf Me from Gamers Unite Nations. 32 kills, 6,881 points of damage. Absolutely insane. Almost 7k damage done in total by this guy. Moving on, No Brainer in second with Ultra 6 there, of course, repping the colors, coming in with 30 kills and 4,700 points of damage. Next up is Undisputed AE with Potato, 29 kills for him and 6,500 points of damage done. And to round things off in number 4, we've got Zero Tolerance repping Hates with 29 kills and 4,900 points of damage. These guys not messing around at all. And certainly we expect moving forward into the games this evening that they will not be messing around either. Hopefully we'll see some insane stuff. So here, of course, are the teams moving into today's games, we're going to start with Group A. It's Gamers Unite Nations. We've got Immortalz, we've got NFxUnique, we've got Not Gaming, Rainbow Six Madagascar, we have Natural Killers, Fear, and Ultra 6 in Group A. And then, of course, we have another group that these guys have to go up against, and it is going to be Group B, starting off with G3 Temper, who have certainly looked for better days in the last few weeks. Undisputed AE, who's almost grabbing that first position from Gamers Unite Nations there on the top of the leaderboard there. Scincerity in this group as well. Influence Rage, Drogons. We've got the Comfy Cartel, BBC, and the Young Thundercats. So lots of teams that do need to put a little bit of the work in. The Comfy Cartel and the Drogons certainly in that category. And of course, we have some other teams who are just making a play for the top of those overall standings, like, as I mentioned, Undisputed AE. So we've got quite a mixed batch in these groups here today. Certainly going to prove to be quite the interesting matches up ahead.
Definitely, it is going to be an interesting, like, ladies and gentlemen, DK, you always have the insight, especially looking back historically on what these two groups have done on this particular map. I always appreciate your insight. What are we looking at today when we look at what's happening in the past and what we should expect with the position where the teams are now?
Well, I'm expecting today to be a pretty neck-and-neck fight between Gun and the players coming in there from Undisputed, as we see both of them just separated by only 1 point. And we did see Gun really showing up at the end of the weekend, last weekend, where they started off over on Erangel with quite a bit of aggression, finishing up in that second position. But we also had the team there from the Immortalz finishing off with a 14-kill chicken dinner. So the expectations are pretty high moving into this final, the first day of the final weekend, to see what the teams are going to be bringing. And I'm expecting to see quite a bit of upsets as the teams make their way on through. But also, Slime 4KT, we'll be looking at them a little bit later. So when we get into tomorrow's side, we're going to be looking to see what the teams will bring. But G3, we're also waiting to see what they will do, whether or not they're going to try and move up on it to that leaderboard. Because as Binachi has mentioned, they've been having a few rough starts in the games throughout the past few weeks. So hopefully this is the week in which they bring it together and get themselves ready as they approach the finals.
Okay, so we know that there are teams who have to bring it all in for this weekend, because this weekend is a make or break weekend that moves us, that rounds off this round of gameplay, and the next round is obviously the finals. We're going to be losing, I think, 8 teams this round, and nobody wants to be part of those 8 teams who gets dropped off, because as we showed you earlier on in the beginning of the broadcast today, the prize pool is $15,000, and I think everyone wants to give their team an opportunity to compete for part of that prize pool. It is absolutely necessary. You've come this far, you might as well go hard or go home. Now our teams are getting ready. We're about to make our flight into Erangel. I'm going to ask you back to Patchy. Patchy, who are you looking for today? Who are you rooting for? And who do you think is going to come out on top? Might all be the same person, but I'll listen and I'll join you guys back after the match.
Yeah, all right. Thank you so much, Dr. Sid. Of course, it is map number 1. It is Erangel. It is the beginning of this evening's games, and hopefully it is going to be quite the spectacle, because we have some teams such as, but not limited to, Gun and Undisputed AE, who are sitting right at the top of that overall leaderboard, and they have quite a substantial lead, quite a convincing lead. You know, it's not undisputable, it's not unshakable, but certainly it is very substantial and quite impressive, to say the least. So who am I looking out for? Who do I think is going to be coming out with some success stories here? Potentially, I say Gun and of course Undisputed AE, who are definitely looking to probably get some victories here, maybe get some chicken dinners, maybe get some kills. Whatever the case is, I definitely expect them to be finishing high and quite consistently, as they've been doing for the last few weeks. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier, and as you were talking about just now, DK, you know, I want to see some performances out of a couple other teams. We'll see if they can put the points necessary in to, of course, you know, make sure that they are secure. For instance, G3, you know, they top of the second page, so they should be fine. But you never want to let up. You know, you want to make sure you're continuing to put points on, just so you can maintain your position.
Yeah, definitely going to be looking to see what the team sitting on that second page especially will bring in today, because this is one of the final chances they've got to make a change, to make an improvement on that leaderboard. And I mean, they are so close. I mean, the separation between 16th place and of course the players over in 20th is only, what's that? That looks like 16 points. So definitely not a lot of a gap to try and fill up, as the teams have quite a bit of opportunity coming in to today's games. And of course, as we can see, we do have the zone shifting all the way up in towards that northeastern side. So a lot of potential for the teams. Gun, of course, already pushing straight up in towards Yasnai, or rather dropping straight into there, positioning themselves smack dab center zone. And now this is where we're going to look to see what the teams, especially on those outlying areas, are going to be doing. We do have the players there from Comfy Cartel, as you can see, of course, now just on the edge of that western coast, or well, rather western edge of the zone. But they are also now accompanied by the side of Fear. Fear is currently sitting down in 18th place. They only need 6 points to be in that second page to get themselves out of relegation. So one good game could be enough for today to move them up and give them just an extra little bit more of a fighting chance to secure position moving up into the finals. Because as we've mentioned, you know, the teams, they want to get out, and we've seen coming in from Slime 4KT, they were able to move up from last position all the way up into 13. So that is a jump of 9 slots just in one weekend. So definitely it shows that the teams have the opportunity to make quite a big shuffle when it comes to these overall standings.
Yeah, it's definitely been proven that it's not impossible, and I think that's something that's been proven time and time again. Straight off the bat, though, we're gonna have Squeak getting run over in midair and just absolutely crushed out of existence here by some vehicles, as they definitely mercilessly run Squeak over and say goodbye, and that's a little bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. It happens, you know, when you hit the ground and you don't have a drop, you can't pick yourself up some weapons, and then someone just, you know, jumps in a vehicle and squashes you. It's not a good feeling, but it happens. You just gotta, you know, shake it off and move on, or at least the rest of the team that is still alive does have to do that. Whether we'll see some more skirmishes happen straight off the bat, I'm not too sure. We've had a little bit of on and off in terms of that in recent times. You know, we've had some really nice early aggression picking up in the beginning of this round, but as the round has sort of played out over the weeks, it's sort of tapered off a little bit, which, you know, it's fine. But we want to see a little bit of a renewed energy here. We want to see the teams come in and make that final push for the points, that final push up towards the end of the week, and of course the end of the round. And yeah, we want to see it culminate in some serious action, because we know that the potential that is packed into some of these teams, most of these teams really, is quite intense, quite impressive. You know, we've seen some crazy stuff, especially towards the end of round 1, if I'm not mistaken. We saw some crazy stuff. So I'm hoping we see a little bit again, you know, as we end off this round. I want to start seeing that again. I want to start seeing the crazy plays, the clutch plays, you know, the real high pressure moments. That's what I want to start to see coming out of a lot of these teams. And I think if the teams are ever going to give it to us, it has to be, you know, Gun has to be in that conversation, and Undisputed AE has to be in that conversation as well. And we've got both of the teams, you know, right here before us. So maybe we'll see something happen.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen teams really step it up, and I'm really curious to see just how the teams are going to look to bring it today. I mean, as you've said already, this is the final chance, the final dance. This is the do or die. If they don't bring in those points in today's games, starting from today rather, you know, if they don't bring it in, it is going to get only harder as they progress through this weekend. So anyone who's letting off is going to have an exceptionally tough time to try and make it up over the 2 remaining days after today. So yeah, definitely going to be looking to see, but of course that would result in quite a bit of potential action as the teams are making their way on through, looking to position themselves up in it towards the zone. And this is where we wait to see just where those rotations are going to be taking the players. Are we going to be seeing the strategic plays come in, the teams looking to push into those compounds, looking to get a little bit aggressive? They've, of course, now had more than enough time to assess the opposition, to figure out how the rotations go, where the teams like to frequent, and how to best potentially counter that. So I'm really excited to see what the teams will bring along the ride here as we make our way through today.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll just have to wait and see what happens right here on Erangel. We're getting our traditional slow start. Nothing too crazy happening. No hot drops, no early kills other than, of course, Squeak getting run over by the car and squeaking the last squeak and going back to the lobby. We'll see if any battles happen, but I don't expect them to. As you can see, that zone up towards the northeast, pretty good position. Gun and NFxUnique as well as Ultra 6 all have made their way up in towards the center part of that, which is centered around Yasnaya, which is going to feel pretty good for some of these teams, considering they've now found themselves in a pretty good spot for what could be most of the game, considering their positioning at the moment. The rest of the teams, of course, have to make their way in across that line. Lots of them having to make that rotate in from the west. Not going to be too much of a problem. The zone is large enough and there's not enough ground covered by the teams to really instigate any gatekeeping. G3 down towards the bottom, towards the south of that zone. Up against Rainbow Six, maybe could be doing some damage. But right now, positioning is probably going to be the biggest focus coming out of the teams. They don't want to get into any tussles just yet. I think the tussles will start once the next zone starts rotating in and things start closing up a little bit. Then we might start to see the gatekeeping come in. But right now, you can see that the teams are quite happy with where things are at the moment. And I think that might have something to do with the fact that teams that are already secured on that first page are probably not in the mood to do anything extra. You know, they don't have to go the extra mile. Although Björn going to get some nice airtime. Yeah, that's like at least 50 patchy points for that. Never mind. I'm going to say 100 patchy points for that. That's what I like to see right there. Flip the car, do some skateboard tricks. That's like an Ollie 180 kickflip right there. Let's go. That's what I like to see.
And then some. I mean, that was like a nose grab, nose plant, you know, swing around the wheel, off we go, see what happens kind of trick. Because just as we thought the trick was about to stop, it just kept on going, you know? So it's like that nice little surprise attack that we see now also coming in there onto the side of G3. And I think it's all these vehicle maneuvers that kind of, you know, found them in a bit of a tricky predicament there. But I'm curious to see definitely what the teams will bring. So I had a question for you though, right?
Ooh.
When Squeak got run over, right? Do you think there was any audible squeaks? And if so, how many?
Yeah, well, I think it's only one squeak. Yeah, I have to say it's got to be one squeak. And when Squeak squeaked the last squeak, it was only one squeak that got squeaked there by Squeak. Yeah. I think that answers your question, I'd say. Yeah. In any case, we actually saw a nice little engagement there from Undisputed AE in towards G3, just putting a bit of damage in there, which has forced them up. And of course, the rotate from the zone coming through, moving a little bit north. It's going to force the teams all together. But it looks like they are not having a problem with that right now. They're just like, yeah, you know what? Let's get in here. Let's just get in here. We're not even out here trying to do anything else. We're not even out here trying to, you know, be a little group on the side, trying to maybe isolate a 1v1. No. Let's just get into the party. And it's right here in the middle of the zone. That's where it's at. Let's go.
Yep. And I mean, at this point, this is where I feel sorry for the observers, right? Because they have to now try and get into this mess that we see with all the teams converging down on towards Yasnaya. It is going to be absolutely insane to try and keep up with everything that is about to happen. But we can already see the players there from Influence Rage starting to put a few shots in as Guns Pounds is getting caught on the opposite end of that barrel. But of course now G3 down to only a 3-man team as they are looking to secure themselves an anchor point up in towards the north there of Yasnaya. But this is definitely going to be an interesting rotation for a lot of these teams that we saw all now just passing right through this Yasnaya region. I'm curious to see whether or not they're going to try and push out into the open fields while we still have a few teams hanging back, just holding back, looking to see if they can potentially pick off a few stragglers. Now, one of the teams, of course, here is G3, looking to put up the pain on towards the players here from Rainbow Six Madagascar. But also, Rainbow Six Madagascar, they are in that danger zone. They are currently sitting up in 19th position with 94 points. Again, it's not going to be that difficult for them to acquire the necessary points to make that jump up onto that second page. They only need 9 points. Then they're in the safe zone. But, of course, a lot of these teams sitting on that second and first page are going to be looking to make it so difficult for the other teams to try and move up and secure themselves a decent slot.
Yeah, there is a lot riding on the games today for some of these teams. Rainbow Six, of course, as you mentioned, one of them. We'll see if they can put the points on the board necessary to get themselves out of this situation. Early on, we saw G3 doing their due diligence there, getting some nice setup. And I really like to see that coming out of the teams. You know, I like to see the details coming out of the teams. You know, it's all great to see the fighting and the aim battles and the outbraining and the strats. That's all lovely. And it's great to see that. And I don't want to take anything away from that. But I think one of the other things that's maybe overlooked or not appreciated as much as it should be is the small details that actually go into a lot of the setup process, or a lot of those tiny, minute things that can actually change the game in a big way. Like, for instance, G3 just peeking out, making sure to put some bullets into the tire. It doesn't have to destroy the car, but the disabling of the car by, you know, shooting the tires or doing small things like that can really change the scope or the landscape of how things play out. You know, let's say they try and get in there and evacuate. Now they're having a little bit of a problem. It's easier to hit them. You get some knocks, you get some kills. Suddenly you've got a team wipe on your hands, all thanks to, you know, just a small detail. So, you know, it's always great to see that. I want to see that a little bit more. Maybe that's going to come into play a little bit further as we move in towards the finals. We'll see the team starting to implement small things like that to try and change the game. For the time being, of course, we're going to be seeing that zone down in towards the south, and all of the teams pretty much already inside, which is just a result of having already been in the center of the previous zone. You know, I don't have to tell you that it's really important to be quite centralized in the zone, when especially in the early stages, so that you can you don't have to rotate too far. And of course, you could see the result of these teams being cognizant of that. And they're still just sitting in Yasnaya, quite happy, very much inside the zone for the time being. All the teams streaming their way on down. And of course, now is really where the fights will start to happen, because now is the time where we start running out of space a little bit more quickly, especially once this blue zone starts moving in. You know, and already you can see the fight starting to break out.
Yeah, and I mean, this is only going to get escalated as the teams will get forced closer and closer together. We, of course, now coming to the end of our third phase here. The blue zone is closing on up, and we're going to be seeing that zone shift up once again. But Gun in a pretty good position here. They are, of course, on the edge of Yasnaya. It's a pretty good position because they are able to see in the surrounding area, and they do have that hard cover to play from. Another team also utilizing the hard cover in this exact same region is, of course, the players coming in from Young Thunder, who are looking to pick up a few shots. The Natural Killers, of course, just positioned up ahead of them, and this is where the teams are going to try and bring in those plays. They're going to try and apply the pressure and potentially even put some of the teams on a slight bit of a back foot. But of course, now Rashi has got his M4 in hand, just slowly peeking the windows, of course, closing the door, as one does. If you're not planning on moving out, just close the door. We've got Comfy Cartel, of course, just on the opposite end there of the waterway. So a lot of potential angles the teams here are looking to be taking, as the rotations, of course, now also come in. The teams just repositioning, and I'm curious to see what Comfy Cartel is going to do with their positioning. They do have a nice advantage up in towards the north, a good bit of ridgeline to utilize there. So I'm curious to see what the teams will do with their positioning.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. For the time being, though, you can see some fights happening in the kill feed. The Comfy Cartel going up against the Immortalz. Python getting taken down there. And, well, Nova looking to maybe put some third-party shots across their long range. Looking to find maybe a quick pick onto one of them, but not finding any angles. Unfortunately for him, not really having the high ground and actually getting quite a bit of damage done and actually getting knocked as well. That's a little bit of a backfire on the plans there. Certainly not the way he expected that to go. And now got the Comfy Cartel pinned behind this rock here, trying to stay alive and get some grips on where their assaulters are. True, going to be making the push over towards the vehicle, maybe get some maneuvers in there, but they're going to have to get the rotate on as soon as possible, because as you can see, that zone's moved even more south, which is going to force out the rotate from all of these other teams, some of them already having done. So you can see BBC streaming down in to that zone. Ultra 6 having already made their way up. UAE down in towards the southeast of that zone. Gun now moving in from the north as well, just escaping the crosshairs of Young Thundercats for the time being. Natural Killer's just off to the sides. You can see quite pinned down here on the screen even. But once those teams start making their way down into that zone, it is going to become that much more difficult because we didn't see any of the early fights. We didn't see any early removals, any early alleviation of pressure, which means as we move into the middle and late game stages, it is going to be chaos for a lot of these teams, especially as they start to run out of space and they start to run out of cover.
Yeah, and of course now we see the teams looking to utilize the cover that they still have at hand, looking to set themselves in those positions. And of course the rotations coming on through, as well as the natural killers now looking to push a slight bit further up in towards the zone. And you were talking about the vehicles. We see that problem now come in for Young Thunder as the rear tire had been taken out. If it was the front one, it would have been a slight bit easier situation to deal with. But of course now that really slows it down. As you can see, Illusion just barely being able to move. But now the teams are starting to line up on the edge of that zone. We see Comfy Cartel G3 in very, very close proximity. And this is where things are going to start getting a little bit heated as the teams are looking to hold on to those angles. And the shots now, of course, starting to find their way as the players are finding themselves in those advantageous angles. But of course, there's a lot of rushing coming in. So many shots finding their way on through. True gets knocked out. It is now up to Tigress here for Comfy Cartel to make this final stand. But of course now Mojo here from Ultra 6 looking to put the hurt on in. The shots come through. And that is the end of the Comfy Cartel. G3 coming in with a beautiful nade there, just to wrap things up. But of course, this is what we're expecting to see. So many players in such close proximity, it is going to be absolutely chaotic. And the teams need to try and keep their cool and stay pretty on top of things as the pressure now starts mounting.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I was talking about. Once you get into this stage and there's so many teams left, there's very little you can do to isolate the fights. And we saw that with the Comfy Cartel just now, getting isolated, too many angles to watch, too many players to worry about, and everyone is falling left, right, and center. Flake are going to get taken out in the meantime, as G3 now under fire as well. Law trying to lay down the fire in towards Influence Rage off in the distance, and just putting the tap shot straight across in towards the players there. I think that was Hainsley. He's getting taken down. So absolutely a tough time out here for so many teams that need to get across that line with very little cover. You can see the smokes getting popped to try and obscure the vision, but the vision obscuration does not stop bullets, all right? Smoke ain't bulletproof, and these teams know that all too well at this point. G3 under a lot of pressure here. You can see there's about 2 or 3 teams right up ahead of them, and then one player just behind them as the zone now moves on and gets a whole bunch smaller. Gun, of course, having been in the center of the previous zone, going to be quite happy to be just in range of stepping over that line. And that's going to put them in a great position to potentially get some gatekeeping done and dusted for themselves, maybe pick up quite a few kills in the process, depending on where the teams decide to rotate. For the time being, BBC still causing a nuisance up here towards Influence Rage. Rainbow Six also going to be chiming in with a couple of shots of their own. Everyone's going to have to start moving pretty quickly, though. We've got about 20 seconds remaining before that blue starts to move on in, and the teams will have to think about rotating as quickly as they can. Stella putting some shots in as well as Nova finding the Young Thundercats. The Illusion going down. Lots of fights happening on the outskirts, and all of these fights are happening for the sole purpose of rotation. There is nothing else at this point. They're trying to alleviate the pressure, trying to create the space to be able to rotate without getting taken down. That is pretty much what these games will be reduced to when you don't have the ability or the chance to clear out some of the teams earlier on and make the space earlier on. This is the result of the way that this map has played out this time around, this iteration of the map, you know. The zone and the flight path and the combination of all of that. Plaza trying to put the shots in as Natural Killers roll up and place the damage straight back into him. Take him down immediately. Annihilated there. Now the rest of the gun trying to roll up for a little bit of vengeance. Law also trying to put some shots in himself. Does manage to find quite a few on towards the Natural Killers as they make their assault. But are they going to complete it before they get taken down? We'll see. Silent now also putting the shots in towards BBC. They have a lot to worry about. Does manage to land them. Instantly turns their attention right behind them. This is what you have to do to pay attention to all of the teams in the surrounding area, and there's just too many to worry about. Take on one, maybe take down two, sure, but now the third coming after you as well. Gun also continuing to put up the revenge here for their fallen comrade. But are they going to be able to keep it up? Pounds putting the shots in. Natural Killers falling one by one. They can't find him out. No damage to Pounds just yet, but finally they'll peek and get that damage done. Now Nerf also on the back line trying to find the rest of them out. Shroud done so much damage here, and he's still full HP. He could very easily win this battle out after getting that thirst. Easy peasy for Natural Killers here. They could definitely win this one out here. It's all up to what decisions Nerf is about to make. Gonna toss the nade over. That could be pretty big, and it is perfect nade. Absolute slam dunk on to them. It could have gone so badly, but one nade changed the fate of Nerf Me for the time being. A very beautiful nade, but it's not the end of the battle because, of course, there's still 3 or 4 teams up here towards the north.
Yeah, I mean, you said easy peasy. That part just there was the lemon squeezy right on top. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Of course, you know, this is what we like to see. The teams getting caught in a really tough predicament. And I mean, this is like it is harvesting time, right? It is just going absolutely insane. Everyone is just firing off, trying to secure themselves within the zone. And of course, now Gunner being reduced down to their last remaining hopeful, which of course here is Nerf. He's already been able to bring in 4 of the 5 kills the team does have under their belt. Now, we see the players here from Not Gaming, of course, taking aim over onto the side there of the players from Undisputed AE, who we see huddling up behind the vehicle. They do have a pretty good position within the zone. Not Gaming, of course, now coming in from that western side, looking to secure their own entry point and potentially looking to take control of this edge of the zone. But as we can see, the rest of the teams are all situated up in towards the northeastern side. So it is going to be a pretty tough one for the side of Undisputed, as they've got quite the region to defend and so many potential threats moving in. In fact, we see 4 teams positioned up in towards the north as well as the eastern side, so it's going to be quite the tough one for them. They've only been able to find that 1 kill in. Of course, now the side here from Sinister looking to clean up the edge of zone. I can see Sneaks now trying to sneak a shot in up on towards Nerf Me. Up comes the Utils. Will it find the spot? It is on point, causing a little bit of damage, but not closing it out just yet. The second one seals the deal. Scincerity now looking really strong as they are pushing up back in towards the zone. Now taking aim over towards the players there from Not Gaming. We see situated off in the distance, but of course Ultra 6 just there setting up a bit of a barrier for them to try and cross over. But of course Ultra 6 is going to be looking to pick up so many more kills as they still have the players here from Scincerity on the edge. But Undisputed now rotating over towards the eastern front, putting up that defensive line, and they look to benefit from their position. Mullins now facing quite a bit of a challenge here as Rogue Baby comes in with some beautiful shots, reducing the side there of Ultra 6 down to only 1 remaining hopeful. That's, of course, unless those reses come in, they'll be back up to potentially 2 players. But it is going to be a pretty tall order for No Brainer to try and pull that one off. But, of course, we still see the fights continuing just a slight tad bit further down to the south. So we still have the teams positioned and spread out, and they're going to be looking to take control and show the dominance within the zone. Not Gaming still holding on that far western side, but a beautiful rush coming in from No Brainer, putting an end to the players from Scincerity. But of course, we see Undisputed just lying in wait, capitalizing on that element of surprise, sending some beautiful shots straight on through. And now, of course, the players here from G3, Undisputed, as well as Not Gaming, looking to make a last stand, that last run, that last dash, to claim that chicken dinner. G3 coming back with everything they have. Of course, beautiful shots coming in there from Buden. Now it is only the 2-man team left for G3 to go up against the solo player from Undisputed, as well as the solo player coming in for Not Gaming. And this could potentially, if G3 plays it well, they could have a very easy chicken dinner on hand. Of course, now Zeus still positioned over onto this far western side, looking to play the safe game, looking to come in with that strategic rotation right as he has to. He's got a few seconds left on the clock before that blue zone starts forcing him forward. But now, Undisputed also just lying down in the trench, in the ditch, waiting to see if they'll be able to spot out any of the potential players in the vicinity. And they could be looking to close this one out. There is still the chance of the chicken dinner finding its way over onto Inspector.
Oh yeah, man, this is just right up where we need it to be. Buden gonna put the shots into Zeus. take him straight out of the picture. Now it's G3 in a 2v1 up against one single player who could potentially make this happen, but they know where he is. He has to be super, super careful because he's got a G3 player on either side of him, one to the right, one to the left. They've got some cover. Bearden been a little bit cracked here with some of the shots. Managed to burst quite a number of these players. G3 are quite a few kills to their name as well, looking to add one more. It's Undisputed AE. It's Inspector. It's 1v2. Can he make it happen? They're just waiting for the right time to strike. Every single one of them knows exactly what needs to happen here, but out comes. Here comes the push from G3. Bearden's going to support. Here comes the fire. The shots come through. Gunner goes down. Now it's up to Bearden. He spotted him out. 1v1. Inspector versus Bearden. Bearden going to go for the wide flank. Is going to get spotted out. Will spot Inspector out. In return, goes for the shots. Is he going to land them, though? That's the question. Has to be pinpoint accuracy. Here comes Inspector. He's making the dash towards the other car, but it's not going to work. He will be taken down. And that is it. That's the chicken for G3. One that they certainly have been waiting for quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, what a beautiful play that was. Just playing that zone absolutely phenomenally. Well done to G3 coming in with a 10-kill chicken dinner. Fantastic stuff. Of course, we had the side there of UAE coming into that second, securing himself that 5-point kill. And of course, Not Gaming being able to find 1 kill, but still getting 3rd place. So they at least make up for it with the placement points. And as we, of course, go down the side, we can just see what a tough match this was. So many teams finding a few kills along the way. I mean, this has been an absolutely brutal zone. Quite a bit of a challenge for a lot of these teams here. And I mean, this zone wasn't one of the toughest ones, but just the sheer number of teams moving through these phases, it was so challenging. So I gotta say, big ups to the teams that made it all the way through into those final phases.
Those final phases were very, very exciting to watch. I was actually hoping that G3 wasn't going to take that there, because once the man went down, it looked like the 1v1 was going to be on. But, you know, as it happens, they did well and came through with the points. We've always said that we needed them to come through and obviously raise their game in the tournament, and they did that today, getting the chicken dinner. Let's see what happens when how that affects the overall standings. But in a few minutes, we'll be taking a look at the updated standings for the first match. But my first question to you, Patchy, would be, what did G3 do right in this particular game?
Well, I think that one of the things that has been sort of lacking from them in recent times has been a little bit of a change up. You know, the roster's a little bit more fluid. Things have been a little bit less stable than they used to be. And I think one of the things that they were lacking from that is actually their ability to bring quite a number of players into the late game, into that last phase. And then the coordination that we usually see from them is really, really good. One of the things I can recall straight off the top of my head is the when they were playing a Miramar map, and they set themselves up. 2 of them were on the top of a hill. 2 of them were down in the town, and they were playing this back and forth support game where obviously the 2 from the team at the top, were supporting the 2 down below, and it was like they were splitting the workload and really juggling the pressure, and they were able to stay alive for a long time, get some good kills. They were able to utilize the map to their advantage. You know, they knew what was going on the map. They could say, all right, let's get here. Then this is where a lot of teams most likely going to come past. We can start getting kills. And they weren't even going for the team wipes. They were just picking up the kills here and there. And it was really working in their favor. That was a way that they were able to keep up in the lead quite a lot of time. And that was something that we haven't seen as much from them in recent times. And then, of course, so what I saw from them now is a similar thing. You know, even right up at the end there, the same thing was true. You know, we had one player on the one side, one player on the other side. They were splitting the pressure, making sure that, you know, the last UAE Inspector player there couldn't focus on both of them at the same time, right? He could toss nades as much as he wanted, but he wasn't guaranteed a double kill, right? So he wasn't able to immediately win that clutch. He wasn't able to immediately bring it back into his favor. He had to make sure he kept his focus split. Right. And as long as you can do that, as long as you can play that, you know, pressure splitting game, that attention splitting game, you can juggle it between the players and really utilize your numbers and utilize the terrain. Then you can come out ahead. And G3, you know, they brought a little bit of that shine through for them today, and they were able to do that. And so I think that's where a lot of the success came from.
So, and that's what I found very fascinating was the fact that that particular split at the end of the map with the guy from UAE trying to focus on both sides. Now, I'm going to ask a question to you, DK. This is probably might be a little difficult to answer, but what do you think the guys from UAE could have done differently to come out on top in that particular game?
That is a pretty tough one. I mean, just looking at what we can see, especially in that final zone, it was just down to timing. You know, that is what it came down to for me. Is just timing, when to push, when to run, using the opportunity, reading it, and then, you know, acting on it fast enough. Because as we saw there, as Inspector made that dash from the one vehicle trying to get up to the other, that is in that process just before he made it to the vehicle when we had the shots come in, and of course ending the match right there. So had he done that as a few moments earlier, it could have potentially gone the other way. You know, they could have potentially, they could have brought home the chicken dinner. So I mean, it's so tough when it comes to these late phases. A lot of the times it's small little things that teams have to work on. You know, sometimes also it just comes down to luck. So it is a little bit of an assessment that needs to be done before I can give you like a, you know, an essay of an answer.
Well, let's take a look at what the standings look like right now. And there we have it. G3 Temper with 10 kills, 25 placement points. 25 points in total, 15 placement points. Undisputed AE with 17 points. Ultra 6 with 13 points. Scincerity Esports with 13 points as well. Obviously, the kill points doing very well for them in that particular situation. Not Gaming with 11 points. Gamers Unite Nations with 9 points. Natural Killers with 6. And BBC with 5. That wraps up the first page of the standings in the Group A versus Group B game 10, which is the first game of tonight. Looking down at the leaderboard, NFxUnique with 5 points, Immortalz, Rainbow Six Madagascar, and Influence Rage all tied with 3 points from 10 to 8 to 12 position. Then we have Fear and Comfy Cartel on 2 points each, and Drogons and Young Thundercats with 0 points. That's what the standings of the match between Group A and Group B looks like. We will be right back after this break with some more PUBG Mobile action. See you soon.
Still not, nope.
Well, welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us. Of course, we just came out of an incredible game, number one, an Erangel map that was quite a spicy one. Ended off very nicely as well. We had a really good 1v1 happening at the end there between Inspector and one of the players from G3. I cannot remember who it is now, though, but certainly quite an interesting one. And that's a great way to start things off. That's exactly what I want to see coming back into match number 2. Of course, if you want to just have a quick look at the standings from that match, it is G3 Tampa coming out on top with that winner chicken dinner, and of course 10 kills to their name, giving them a total of 25. Of course, as I mentioned, as I predicted, the Undisputed AE, of course, making their second place known. As per usual, these guys almost always finish top 3 whenever they're on the board. And of course, there they are, 17 points for them. Ultra 6 coming in third place with 13. Scincerity with 13 as well. In fourth place, we got Not Gaming with 11 in fifth. Gamers Unite Nations with 9 in 6. We've got Natural Killers with 6 points in 7th place. And BBC coming in 8th with 5 points there. So some pretty decent numbers for these teams who are going to be making their way slightly up the leaderboard here and there. Of course, moving on to the second page, we're going to see NFxUnique up in 9th place with 5 points. And then with 3 points apiece, we've got Immortalz, Rainbow Six Madagascar, and Influence Rage Africa coming in 10, 11, and 12 respectively. With 2 points apiece, it's Fear and the Comfy Cartel in 13 and 14. And then coming in 15 and 16 with 0, it's the Drogons and Young Thundercats. So yeah, overall, quite an interesting game, number 1. But now, as we move into game number 2, which of course is going to be Sanhok, we're going to move into those close quarters. We're going to be taking some more action, hopefully. And hopefully because of that, we're going to be seeing the teams moving in a little bit closer and getting things done a little bit sooner, because unlike what we saw in map number 1, where we saw a very slow start, you can't do that in Sanhok. If you do that, well, you can do it in Sanhok, but then if you do that in Sanhok, things are not going to go very nicely for you, and it's going to be absolute madness.
You know, Sanhok is actually my favorite map of the PUBG Mobile series. It's just like, I just love the ability or the idea that people have to be close together and get it over and done with as quickly as possible. It's like, you know, when you have those open spaces and some in Erangel, and definitely on Miramar, you have these long open spaces where you can do long range shots. Take your time. Like in Sanhok, is literally from one building to the next. You're looking out windows, watching people stroll by on the streets or jump over fences. It's literally right there in your face. Let's get it over and done with, up close and personal. I want to see the whites in your eyes before I snuff the life out of it. That is such exciting, and that's the fun and the energy that a map like Sanhok brings. All right, so, you know, DK, I always like to ask you this, you know, because you're my man. What are we looking at on this map for this game 2?
Well, table shaking. That is what we're going to be seeing a lot of. We're going to be seeing those tables shook and potentially maybe even broken. Yeah, it's already starting up in the top there. So I'm curious to see what the teams will bring in. Of course, as we know, Sanhok is the map that lends itself to aggressive play. So this is where the teams can look to potentially sneak in a few more additional points. And we've actually seen the players there from Rainbow Six Madagascar, the Natural Killers, as well as BBC perform well on Sanhok in past games. So curious to see whether or not they're going to bring it once again as they make their way through into this match. But of course, we can't forget about Undisputed and as well as Gun. They've also now been showing us today that they are on a mission. They are battling it out for control of that pole position. So we're expecting to see quite a few interesting plays coming in as the teams make their way on through.
Well, interesting plays expected. The map is loading up. I literally can't wait to watch you guys and listen to you guys cast on this map, because there's so much action coming left, right, and center, especially the way Patchy does. Patchy has a special way of letting you know exactly what's happening at a particular point in time. Now, I just need to remind everyone watching right now that if you are not following Nobbin Gaming on our socials, you need to do so right now so you don't miss out on any of the action, stats, updates, previews. I can guarantee you, if you think season 3 is popping off, wait till we finish and get to season 4. It is going to be massive. But as I talk about action, ladies and gentlemen, it is about to go down in Sanhok, leaving you in very capable hands of DK and Patchy, who are bringing the action. See you guys after the game.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Sid. It is action upcoming, soon to be served, slick on a silver platter. And hopefully these teams will serve it up to us pretty soon. As you can see, the teams are jumping down on to that map, getting themselves into the places where they want to be. And we will soon see what the landscape is going to look like once that zone does drop. And we'll see what the teams have to do to get themselves into safety. Of course, they do have a little bit of a safety net in the first 2 zones that go a little bit slower, don't do as much damage. But moving on from there, things do start to get a little bit less forgiving. Moves down slightly towards the south, so we will see a couple of rotates coming through from the teams. But ultimately, it's going to be a decent start for the majority of these teams.
Yeah, and of course, looking at the zone as well, it is looking pretty decent with what we currently have sitting all the way down in towards the south. So expecting those interesting complex plays to find its way on through. And we're going to be looking to see how the teams are going to be rotating on. And Gun, of course, taking quite the spread position over in towards the zone, spreading themselves out quite nicely in and around that quarry region. We, of course, have the players there from Ultra 6 position down over in towards Pinedown. So now this is where the team's already starting to set themselves up in anticipation of those later few zones. But, of course, there's still 4 minutes left on the clock before we get to that blue zone. That will, of course, start forcing these teams closer and closer together. So I'm quite curious to see what the teams will do in the meantime. Will we have anyone looking to venture out, looking to go explore a little bit, and looking to pick up a few additional points, potentially maybe even starting to thin the herd? You can see already the side there of the Immortalz is slightly on the prowl, of course. Comfy Cartel dropping in their usual spot in and around that trifecta region. So a few interesting positions still to come from this. But BBC, the players there from Undisputed AE, as well as the Natural Killers, they look pretty secure in their position all the way down in towards the south there.
Yeah, secure position is going to be quite important for the early games here when the fights hopefully start to happen. We'll see if they do, because of course, as I mentioned, if we play it slow like we saw on the first map, it's going to be a bit of a tough time for a lot of these teams. We'll see if they can handle it. Of course, they have been able to do some crazier things in the past, so we certainly can't put it past them. But for now, of course, as you mentioned, we've got some teams nice and secure down in towards the south there. We've got BBC, Undisputed AE, and the Natural Killers all laying down towards the southern portion of that playable area there, the southern portion of that zone. Then towards the middle, we've got Gun positioned in there once again. They like to take up that central location, and it does them pretty well. They like to get in there as quickly as possible if they can. And usually they make it in pretty quickly, which is very useful for them, because if you get yourself into the middle of that zone, then you're pretty much set for a couple of zones at least. You can squeak out maybe two zones for free without actually having to rotate very far, which can be very, very useful in terms of positioning. We've seen so many teams getting taken out because of having to push through and try and get into a zone, the gatekeeping coming out, and you have to try and run around in this direction and that to try and get across the line, and it becomes a real scramble, a real struggle for a lot of players. And it's definitely a spot where you can trip players up, where you can trip teams up, and a lot of teams have been tripped up there. So yeah, just minimizing that, getting yourself into the middle of the map nice and quick is what they like to do. We'll see if G3 can perhaps pull out some W's here for themselves as well. A nice showing on the previous map has given them maybe a little bit of a confidence booster that could potentially keep going into this map. You want to keep that ball rolling, keep the momentum going for yourself, and maybe pull out some more wins here. Of course, you can see A-Bomb trying to take down Chris, and indeed actually will land the shots and goes in straight for the thirst, which is nice and quick there. Should be able to come through, and it does. A nice quick pick up there for him. A nice catch out of Chris there. And a +1 point for the young Thundercats there. Some nice early action, but not nothing else too out of the ordinary. We've got another slow start here on our hands.
Yeah, of course. Now, it is interesting when we've got these slow starts coming in, because usually we see Sanhok being a map that is pretty high pace, pretty fast. But a good thing about that is showing that the teams are playing this in a calculated manner. They're not just rushing in and getting up and, just trying to throw away the points, because this is the final weekend. Every point they are able to find matters, especially if they want to find themselves on those 2 top pages that will of course be moving through on towards the finals. So this is where the teams are bringing in those stealthy plays, looking to not overexpose themselves, and of course waiting in ambush, exactly as we see Squeak now applying the shot straight over in towards Sneak there. So yeah, a pretty interesting start already for the players here from Cartel. Of course, Sneak managing to survive the start of the match here, but True now getting knocked out for Cartel as Silent is looking to silence that approach. But there's a few interesting angles still to come from Cartel. They are spread out on top of this ridgeline, and they could be potentially capitalizing on that if they play this one well, if they are able to find those angles. But they are going up against the side here of Scincerity, who also is looking to play those angles. But Cartel are in dire need of those points. Currently situated down over into 22nd place. It is going to be quite the fight, quite the battle for them to try and secure position all the way up onto that second page. But it is doable, as we did see, of course, in just last week's matches. Now Lala looking to bring in a little bit of those points, as we do have that off-angle approach and a really interesting rotation, in fact, coming in here from Comfy Cartel.
Yeah, a really nice flank coming out of Lala there, catching one of the players out there from the Comfy Cartel and putting an extra layer of pressure on here. You know, this was starting out as just a one-on-one fight, two teams staring each other down, and Lala was like, no, we're gonna pull up the tactics book just a little bit. We're gonna, you know, make something happen. Goes for that flank, gets a really nice angle there. You can see Rogue now obviously pushed into a really bad spot, having been taken down there. And now I'm not sure if there's even going to be an offer for escape at this point. So some really good utilization of that there from the Comfy Cartel. And as you mentioned, they do definitely need those points. On the other side here, we've got Rainbow Six also having taken a little bit of damage. Going to get the res in nice and quick for themselves. Sella on the rotate as well, getting themselves into some better positioning here along with the rest of the team. Stone trying to put those shots across towards them as they do make that rotate, but only lands a little bit of damage. No knocks just yet, and of course that means no kills or thirsts coming through for them. Just keeping a weather eye out to see if they can spot out anyone else. Shroud just trying to get the taps off, maybe catch somebody out, maybe catch a little bit of damage into them. Has spotted out somebody. Rogue, of course, going to get taken down in the meantime, as Lala will pick that one up after a time. Of course, the res having not come through. Sella goes down as Rainbow Six putting some shots across. We get a nice zoom in of Bootcamp, which is very much empty, which is not usual. You can see a lot of the concentration of the teams actually right down the center line from left to right or from east to west there, sort of concentrated in that band, which is definitely an interesting situation here. It does mean we have a nice concentration of players, and that means fighting. Inspector going to be putting the shots in towards Quara, so that's UAE taking a fight with Rainbow Six. We've still got Lala up here on the top of this mountain, pushing down in towards, I believe that's Comfy Cartel pushing in towards Scincerity there. Of course, Shoto, of course, taking up residence in this building. Rainbow Six just keeping themselves up, hold up in here. Fortified position. But we want to see a couple of more fights happening here. We want to see some more aggression coming through because the time is slowly ticking down. Sahil trying to put some long-range shots over into the hill across from him, but is only going to see a little bit of pressure coming through. Doesn't have much in the way of cover, so is going to have to rotate away from that. But at least intention is there, but hopefully this intention gets converted super quickly. The damage now being done as Gun also turned their attention towards the fighting, trying to put a couple of bits of damage in. Sahil very low, has to apply those bandages. And now this is where we start to see the tempo slowly starting to rise.
And of course, now the teams are looking to potentially fortify the angles, especially like Gun, who we have set up right here in that really strong position within the zone. They have this ridge line to play along with. And now, of course, you can see the teams have started to converge, as we did have quite a bit of a spread at the start of this match. But now as we move on in, we can see things also starting to heat up over onto the side there, of course, just outside of Ruins. Of course, the players there from Comfy Cartel just now looking to hold on to the position. Immortalz and Not Gaming, also both teams rotating off of that northwestern island, looking to push up into zone, but the pressure is mounting as the shots, of course, are now flying back and forth in darkness. Brings a little bit of darkness onto the players from Not Gaming, sending them back into the lobby, ready to wait for the next round as we return over on towards Miramar. So a pretty interesting play here, and of course Snora still alive, but just barely. He is now trying to make his way on through, and there is still that potential that we can see the Immortalz finding that full squad wipe has already been taken, or 3 of his teammates already being sent back, and now Darkness just quickly getting the res up on towards Sky. But of course, the Immortal team still sitting on 3 players, so nice change up. A 1-for-3 kind of exchange that we had coming on through, but now they need to start focusing on getting back up in towards the zone. Fortunately, as it is only still the second phase, so it's not doing a tremendous amount of damage, but the sooner they can get in, the better it will be for them. Of course, Jeff already now looking to capitalize on his position over towards the edge.
Yeah, you've got to capitalize on as much as you can, especially now out here in this predicament where you get caught out in the zone. Of course, now as we switch over in towards Ultra 6, No Brainer trying to put the shots into the Comfy Cartel as they make their rotate. Lala almost getting taken down. There's so much damage done, but does manage to get away with a sliver of health. That buggy, or that vehicle, giving them the speed necessary to make that happen. Ultra 6 looking for something, but not able to find anything off the back of that. So Comfy Cartel still staying alive for the time being, but they do have some rivals up ahead of them that they need to deal with pretty soon. Otherwise, they could just sit behind these rocks and try and wait it out. But as I said earlier on, that's definitely not the strat you want to be using. At least not in this map. Ultra 6 pushing over in towards the compound, getting themselves a good setup. So unfortunately, Comfy Cartel not choosing to chase that one down is going to mean they're going to lose that opportunity entirely, as they will now have the protection of that compound that they've just moved up into. G3 in the meantime, going to try and put some shots in towards the Young Thundercats. Gunner, a very nice angle on it towards the compound that Young Thundercats is currently occupying. Oh, A-bomb, the really cheeky peek through this tiny slat here is quite a cheeky one. You can just see through that crack, and it's barely enough to get the angle on into the compound just across, whereas it's very difficult to see in return. So that's a little bit of a spot right there being utilized. We'll see if it comes to any fruition at this point. Prime now pushing up, Hulk just ahead of him. Might just go head to head here. Fear just off in the distance, so no support for Hulk immediately. His teammates going to have to rotate in. As you can see, they are definitely moving into position, but Rainbow Six need to be careful. Nade getting tossed up. That's Prime going down. That might just be the go signal right here for Fear as they move on up. That's a very good start, at least, because that means that either somebody's going to be in there for the res, or you've done so much damage with those nades. Up comes Hulk. He's going to have to turn the corner and have a look and see what's going on. He doesn't check the corner. That's going to be his downfall. Down he goes, instantly thirsted as well, and the team not in position to assist. That's a little bit of a mistake from Fear, not in the position to capitalize. Maybe a bit of miscommunication on who was going to push in where, but absolutely no chance for support there. And Rainbow Six are going to come in with the res as well, and basically coming out with the win in that situation.
Oh, man, a beautiful, beautiful play. But of course, now things are not looking up just yet. Fear still needs to try now and potentially rotate up, depending on where this next phase is going to be going. That's going to be super interesting to see. But of course, BBC, they also haven't moved much from their initial drop position. They've been able to hold that position over in it towards the southwestern side. Of course, we can see the players there from Cartel now coming in with the rotation, moving down. We got the Immortals still just hanging around in the vicinity. Also, the players there from Ultra 6 still positioned up in towards Pinun. So depending on where this next phase is going to be going, some teams are going to be happy, and of course the teams I just mentioned are the ones that are going to be pretty happy and satisfied with their positions. Of course, Ultra 6 could be looking to capitalize on their position in that Pinun region, and it is going to start heating up ever so slightly over towards the quarry, as we can see the teams now fighting out right here on the edge. G3 keeping a very watchful eye there on Young Thunder, as Young Thunder is trying to find their way up in towards that zone, looking for that entry point, looking for that access point, and it is going to be quite a bit of a fight, but I'm curious to see how they're going to try and handle the situation.
Yeah, that's what it's going to come down to. You just have to see how the teams handle the situation as the situations arise. Here you can see G3 in a nice occupation up here in their little building. We've got the Young Thundercats on the rotate to make it across that line, and they will indeed do so with the blue zone. Still a little bit of time before it's coming through, so they're quite safe for now, of course, unless they run headfirst into a team. For For the time being, though, it looks like it's clear up ahead of them, which is going to be useful for them to position in the coming zone as we move in to zone number 3 and close up going in towards number 4. You can see off towards the west, Comfy Cartel, Immortalz, and BBC, and a little bit of a tussle here, a little bit of a three-way battle triangle happening as the shots from Cartel go in towards the Immortalz, the BBC shots in towards Cartel. Everyone's looking for something, but can they find it is the question. Now, crosshairs in towards True and Lala, not finding anything just yet, though. BBC very cautious to try and see if they can't pick off any of those stragglers here. Lala got the HP, got the angles, got to stay alive for the time being. The shots come through. The explosion actually going to take True out in that kill feed there, as you can see. So a little bit of a commotion being caused. But we want to see that tempo start to rise because, of course, as we move into Zone 3 and head towards Zone 4, it is pretty much the middle of the game and we head towards the next stage. G3 putting the shots in towards Rainbow Six. Stone trying to return the favor as he puts the shots all across, gets damage, but no knocks just yet. Shots coming in, he's trying to trace it. Can he hit them, though? That's the question. Influence Rage rolling up, out they come. Are they going to take control of this compound, though? Stone moving up with that LMG, trying to lay down the fire here. They are going to be able to put some damage done, but is the split going to be enough? Sleepy and Mercury now moving up. Mercury HP is okay, but Sleepy not so much. Nade's getting prepped here. Could be the end of Stone. Very low on HP himself, but he's got one just in return. They might just be tossing them towards one another. We'll see what happens here. Mercury prepping the nade. Here it comes. That might just be enough, and indeed, the peaks come through. The damage comes through as well. Now Mercury pushes up towards Shoto. Very aggressive, taking the fight. Can Shoto land the shots? No, it's Mercury. He wins it out. Absolute pristine aim coming out of him, and he wins it out for the team there. They can get some HP back, but it's, oh no, it's a punishment from G3. They're not letting this happen. Down goes Influence Rage, and now with the Blue Zone on their back, this might be the end of them. Mercury low on HP as his team gets annihilated. It's all on him. The man with the plan who was able to get such brilliant aggression through now finds himself in the lone wolf position, and that's just how the game goes.
Yeah, that is how the cookie crumbles. And of course, now G3 also still out in that blue zone. But of course, oh, very, very sweet finish coming in from the side there of UAE as they find the hits in it to Influence Rage and stopping them right there in their tracks. Some absolutely phenomenal positional play coming in here. But now, of course, the zone has shifted over towards that eastern side. So we're going to be seeing all these teams situated on the eastern front, western front rather, looking to push on in. Gun, once again, good position in zone. Undisputed already also in a really good position in zone. G3 now rolling in from the north. And of course, Young Thunder also positioned in a pretty decent position, spot, holding up right there alongside the road. So now I'm curious to see exactly how the teams are going to try and rotate in. The players there from Ultra 6, of course, could be looking to apply a little bit of pressure as they are coming in. But of course now Undisputed AE looking to capitalize on their high ground advantage they have all the way over towards this eastern front.
Yeah, and it could certainly come in handy for them, giving them some good angles to try and take some shots. Oh, bunny hopping down the side of the mountain there, like a bit of a jackrabbit there. Not sure what's going on, just trying to get some distance as he leaps across. Respect, trying to get the shots in. Does get the thirst, very low on HP though. The end might be near, but the bandages come through to try and bolster up some of the chance here. Sahil still trying to put those shots across from the top of this vantage point. G3 making some rotations of their own up towards the top of the zone. So he'll still trying to put the shots in, but not able to find any kills just yet. So looking, fishing for them, but is not reeling them in just yet. Comfy Cartel trying to get the res in, and Lala, oh, what a difficult position trying to get the res on the teammate. But up comes Respect, instantly shut down though. Lala making sure to land those hits, but now they get washed over by that blue zone, and now things become very, very difficult. G3 trying to do a little bit of gatekeeping as teams move in from the north. Maybe going to pick themselves up quite a number of kills, but Six goes down as Muz able to find those shots in that direction. You can see now Sahil coming in with those shots and absolutely nailing them right across the map. Tough times abound for these players, but they have to fight it out. They have to prove their strength right here, right now. as they come on in towards this zone, and the shots are absolutely flying. Six God, of course, getting taken down there. Terry with the thirst, so he'll still looking for those long-range shots, as Terry rotating through the blue is just not enough to make it happen. The shots from Sahil also too much to handle. Gunner goes down. Everyone is fallen left, right, and center. We've still got 11 teams here on the board, 35 players left. Buden trying to shave those numbers down just a little bit. Phased, lots of damage being done, and the knocks coming through as well. Just being punished all over the show. What a tough situation for these teams.
Absolutely brutal stuff, but of course NFxUnique looking good, holding on to this anchor point just on the inside of Zone Cage now, waiting to see whether or not FaZe will be able to make it all the way through. This left to cover for the players here from NFxUnique, but of course now as we look a little bit further on it towards the players here from the Immortalz, we see them now looking to make a bit of a play as they still have a slight bit of company up ahead of them. Of course, now Sky is the last remaining player, but we see the Natural Killers positioned right there up in front. They do have the numbers advantage, but Sky still has that element of surprise. They're just hugging the edge of that zone. And of course, now Camp Charlie is quite a tricky position to be playing in. And this is where, of course, the Immortalz are going to be looking to capitalize on that. But Shroud says no, shuts it down right there, putting their head straight on across. And a good play coming in for the Natural Killers as they now look to push even further up in and towards the zone. We've got now 25 players still alive. The shots are finding their way over towards Shroud, so they don't have that element of surprise anymore. But of course now the players here from Undisputed also now looking to capitalize on their own position. They have G3 situated just down below, sending out those nades, sending out those utils, looking to put in the hood and of course open up a gap onto the defenses there. But now the teams are having such a challenge. You can see Gun now looking to capitalize on the rotations coming in as they do have a decent position in zone. Once again, Ultra 6, of course, now getting caught over still towards that western side. BBC now being forced into the bins here over on the bridge as things are just heating up so much.
Yeah, and it's amazing to see. You can see the shots are still flying up here. Lots of pressurized situations, lots of great decisions and bad decisions. Nerf now pushing up in towards the rest of the crew there from the Young Thundercats, and indeed they will take them down. A-bomb goes down for luck. Also falling. BBC trying to put some shots in, but they are really sandwiched in some difficult spots here on this bridge. The blue zone right behind them. Teams right up ahead. UAE still trying to put the grenades across to G3, and this one, any one of these grenades could end them right here in this situation. Damage being done, but no thirst just yet. Sahil absolutely hunting for this one. He is not letting up. He's a relentless hunter here at this point. Lord finds the shot as well. What a shot. Right across the top of that one, just around the side of the rock there. Inspector not going to feel all too good about that one. The nade comes up to finish that off. And indeed, Matrix going to try and continue to put the pressure on towards G3. A nice molly to flush them out of the situation. Shots coming through, and the thirst onto Buden is going to be the response to that. Lord now pushing on up, of course, getting that thirst for the guaranteed points. But now, as the teams have been shaved, we've got 4 of them remaining. 10 players left alive. Make that 3 teams remaining now as Undisputed AE has once again made their way to the top 3 finish. BBC now getting absolutely hammered by Plaza as he puts the shot across. Its gun still alive on the top of this hill here towards the south of the zone. The shots coming in from BBC as well, though. This is such a tough situation. BBC putting the pressure on. There goes Lord, though, as they get wiped out. Straight off the picture, it's Gun versus UAE, and it's about to be finished as Matrix tries to push on up to make it happen. Short Boy Slim goes down as Sahil manages to land the damage, and now we have to see who is going to take this win. It's a 1v2, it seems, and UAE have a little bit of an advantage, although the res is coming through for Gun. That's going to make it a lot easier. They're going to have the numbers to their advantage potentially here. They've also got a nice split difference, 1 and 2 on one side and the other. Plaza now going to reposition with this vehicle. Maybe just catch them on the flank. This could be a problem. Of course, UAE can't get that res in on their teammate, which is going to be a bit of an issue. They're going to be at a man disadvantage. Up comes Gun as they try and make an assault. Plaza lands the shots. Nerf also putting the hits in. This could be it. This could be Gun's W right here. This could be the chicken dinner that they've been waiting for. Short Boy Slim trying to continue to put those shots across Potato, basically down and out at this point. No chance of bringing anything back. Skill on the back foot, trying to make it happen. Up comes the vehicle. Plaza trying, and he's just going to land the shots. No problem for him. Chicken dinner goes into the hands of Gamers Unite Nations.
Yeah, and Gun bring home their 4th chicken dinner, finishing off there with an absolute beast mode of a game. 10 kills to their name. Of course, Plaza being able to secure 6 of those kills. Absolutely insane play. But I did say before this match started that we are going to be seeing Gun and UAE fighting it out down to the bone. And of course, we see that reflecting once again. UAE finishing up in that 2nd position, securing themselves 7 kills. BBC, of course, finishing up in 3rd place there on 5 kills. But absolutely great zone handling coming in as Gun once again just find themselves in prime spot time and time again. They are out here to prove themselves. We know they are a good team, but man, they just keep on reminding everyone what they can do.
Gamers definitely unite nations, and the unified nation of gamers definitely came out on top in the winner chicken dinner. Ladies and gentlemen, nice to see Gun coming through and showing exactly what we know they're capable of in that particular match. It's you know, like DK said, beast mode coming through and dominating the field. Patchy, what was your highlight for that particular match, Sistan?
There was a couple of plays that I really liked. I think one of them was actually something that wasn't drawn a lot of attention to, but it was where Natural Killers assaulted 1 or 2 of the players that were running up on the side of their compound just towards the late side of that game. They were trying to take a sneaky position, and there were 2 players that one of them jumped over the wall. A really nice grab for the long-range jump, actually, as well. It was quite an impressive jump. But they went over the wall, and they actually snuck up the side. And they just went hunting for it. Natural Killers were like, no, we're not going to sit here inside the compound and wait for you to push up. We're just going to go and get you, make sure you're out. And that's the kind of cleanup that I like. That's the kind of mindset that I like, because if they had actually stayed inside the building and waited for the push, they could have very easily, been dismantled. A lot of those close range fights that happen inside the house can get really messy for the defending team, actually, and it can be a little bit of a problem. So it's nice to see that those little decisions being made, they're actually coming through there. That was my highlight. Not the big flashy ones,
One of my highlights for this particular match, as we are taking a look at the standings. DK, do you want to talk us through the standings after the 2nd game?
Yeah, of course. So we can see the players there from Gamers Unite Nations finishing in that pole position with the points. 25 points secured in this match. Undisputed, of course. They're on 19. And we see a very interesting spread when it comes to the kills. BBC stepping up and delivering as well, as we saw their 5 kills to the name. G3 also being able to rake in those points, securing themselves 11 for this match. But of course, we have the players there from Young Thunder also now stepping it up. They again have something to prove. They want to get themselves even further up that leaderboard and get away from the danger zone. But it's also good to see the team from Comfy Cartel bringing in the points. Yes, it's not the craziest amount of points, but points are points, and that is what matters. Consistency is key if the teams are looking to get themselves out of the danger zone. And of course, teams that are not bringing in the adequate amount of kills, we can see, of course, situated a slight bit further down the list there. The players there from Not Gaming and Drogons, as well as Fear, not finding the optimal amount. Of course, those 3 teams are still within that relegation area, so quite a bit of pressure still on their shoulders if they are looking to make a move on to that 2nd page. Influence Rage, we do see them, of course, on that 1st page, so they are secure. It's okay not getting the greatest points on the board. Scincerity also looking to improve their overall standing, so they're going to have to step it up when they come in towards Murmur. Not, again, finding the best amount of points, and they are still pretty close to that danger zone. And as we've seen now, things can change in a moment's notice. So I'm definitely looking to see what the teams will bring as we move into our 12th match, of course, heading over on towards Murmur.
Yeah, look forward to the match on Miramar. As I was saying, one of my highlights for that particular match was when, can't remember what team it was, but a guy downed someone in the building and then he threw a frag in. I was like, you know what, I'm pushing right now all alone. And then he ran straight in, but didn't see the guy who was posted up behind the door, and just took him out. Amazing as the team got their team player res back up. It was so nice to see that just when you think you have it, you actually don't. And on that note, we will be right back after this break with some more action with Dr. Sid, Patchy, and DK. It is PUBG from the Umzansi Esports League. This is Season 3.
Always check your corners.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the action, the greatest show on earth. That is the Umzansi Esports League Season 3, brought to you by Nodwing Gaming. My name is Dr. Sid, here with DK and Patchy, and we've been having a blast of a time. But right about now, we're about to take you back in the time to take a look at the standings of the previous batch.
That was smooth. That was really smooth. You can commentate us the rest of the way in there. Gamers United Nations, of course, coming up in number 1. It's 25 total points for them. Just to remind you how high up the leaderboard they have been, and of course, Undisputed AE making their appearance once again in the top 3. This time coming in second place, 19 points for them. BBC making it up into third place. They're 15 points for them. So I know we've got some BBC fans in the chat, so they'll be pretty happy to see them getting up into that spot. Of course, fourth, it's going to be G3 Temp, but just missing that top 3. But certainly getting some decent points for themselves, at least 11 for them. We've got the Young Thundercats in 5th with 9. We've got Ultra 6 in 6th with 8. We've got Immortalz in 7 with 6. And the Comfy Cartel coming in 8th with 4. Just as a refresher to see who actually made the points happen here on this first page. Of course, moving into the second page, not so much the same case. We are moving down here. Rainbow 6 in 9. NFxUnique in 10. Natural Killers in 11. Scincerity in 12. Influence Rage Africa in 13. Fear in 14. Not Gaming in 15. And Drogons in 16. And of course, it was quite a game in that second map there. But now as we move into map number 3, as we head in towards Miramar, I certainly am looking forward to see what the teams can bring to close things out for the evening. Of course, you know, it's the final weekend, and I'm just seeing DK's glasses there.
I felt out.
Nice.
I felt out.
Very nice. Yeah. All right. Well, now we're all together with our vision. Now we can see the amazing action.
I think we did it like the first map was Patchy with the glasses, and then the second map was me, and then DK's come to the third map, and you know it's just going to be an amazing time, ladies and gentlemen. Like Patchy said, this is the last weekend of the second round, and next weekend we come after this is going to be the finals. I mean, not next weekend, but the next time after this weekend that we see PUBG is going to be the finals, where there's players playing for the top spots and playing for that money. You know, DK, you've called it today. A lot of times I want to talk about your predictions of what you're looking at for this final map of the day.
Well, that's why I put the glasses on, so I can get a nice close-up look to see what we could be potentially expecting in this final match. So, I mean, we did see quite a strong performance coming in from G3 Gun as well as Undisputed on our previous visit on that Miramar map. So I'm pretty keen to see what those 3 teams will bring in once again and just how aggressively they'll be able to step it up. But of course, we're also still waiting for the teams situated on that final page, that last page, the relegation page. Wow, that was difficult. Looking for them to try and get off of that. They are just inching their way closer and closer, but of course the teams up ahead of them are continuing to make it so hard for them to get in and secure those positions. So I'm going to be looking to see how the teams will be able to make that shift. Of course, you know, Fear still just hanging on. They're so close to the top of that page. They just need a few more points to jump up ahead, and I'm curious to see just who will be moving up into that second page after this final match.
Movers and shakers, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. The action has just begun. It is Miramar, it is Patchy, it is DK. Dr. Sid is out, and I will see you after this map.
Yeah, there it is. We are heading into map number 3. It's Miramar. It is the final map for the evening. And these teams got a lot to show us here. We've already seen some great gameplay in match number 1 and some great gameplay in match number 2. And now we want to see some even better gameplay in match number 3 to close things out. We want to see some absolutely insane stuff. And if ever there was a map to make it happen, it's this one, with those long-range engagements, with those crazy things happening all over the show. Of course, as we head into it, the flight path moving from the west to the east, giving our team some decent spots to jump down into. The real question is, what are we going to see? Are we going to see any hot drops? Are we going to see any early fights? Or is it going to be a delayed beginning once again, and then the chaos unfolding a bit later on?
Well, we're going to be looking to see whether or not the teams can break up that natural progression of the map. All right, so we've seen now that we have the phases come in, the teams get a slight bit aggressive, they keep on dialing up their aggression as we progress on through. But essentially, this is where we want to see the teams bring in that extra bit of spice, as we do see that zone, of course, shifting over onto that southeastern side. It is a bit of an interesting zone, and it does already make things quite difficult, as we have such a large selection of water in play here. So curious to see, of course, if we'll have any teams looking to potentially move in early and secure themselves with those anchor positions, or if they're going to stick to their looting phase and only start rotating in much later.
Yeah, that zone is going to make things quite difficult. You can see a huge concentration of teams on that western side is going to mean that we will have some fighting happening there pretty soon. So we'll just have to wait and see. For the time being, of course, with the size of Miramar, with the steadiness of that initial zone and the initial first couple of zones, the team's still quite happy to get their looting done and dusted here on the outskirts of that zone before rotating up into it, although there's quite a few teams that will have to make that happen. We've got the Natural Killers, we've got Immortalz and G3 all up there with Gun on towards the north and the northwest, as well as NFxUnique also in that position, having to rotate across the line. The rest of the teams concentrated in towards the western portion of the zone itself, going to be okay for the time being, and with the size of the map, they will still be fine. But, of course, we know that that doesn't last, and these teams need to make things happen early on in the game to buy themselves some time, to buy themselves some space. And right now, Not Gaming looking in towards the Natural Killers to see if they can exchange a couple of shots and potentially get some space for themselves, because that's really what it's about at this moment in time. You know, it's fighting for the space and time to really get things done here on this map, because if you've got a team right up ahead of you, rotations can be difficult and things can be quite tough, and especially with the angles that you can get in some of the places on this map, you know, you have to make sure that you're very wary of the teams up ahead of you, maybe just push them away or wipe them out even if you can. But just to get yourself a little bit of space and make sure that you're not getting caught out too early on.
It is going to be quite a bit of a challenge. So we're looking to see those tactical plays come in, and we still have quite a bit of a problematic area, especially over in towards that Alpozo region. We still have the team's position up there and looking to see whether or not those fights are going to find their way through, and they will see those rotations or potential disengage come in as the teams are needing to head up in towards the zone. But of course, if we look to the edge of the zone, we see Young Thunder, we see the players from Fear, Ultra 6, as well as BBC. And if they strengthen or fortify their positions, they could really put a stop to a team like Gun, for instance, who's still looking to find their rotation on through. But this is going to be interesting to see how Gun is going to try and find their entry, because we've got quite a few teams up ahead of them. If we look over towards the players there from UAE, they are secure over on that far eastern edge. They've got no one to worry about, and things are going to be quite pressurized, especially over onto the west.
Yeah, the pressure will be rising. We just have to wait for it to happen. You can see Jaeger up here on the screen, looking for some prey, looking to hunt just a little bit here. See if you can spot anyone out. Roshi doing the same. All the players seeing if anyone's going to poke their head around the corner so they can take a couple of shots at it. Of course, both of these teams know what's going on. They know what's at stake, especially considering it's the final match for the evening. So it's the final time for today to be able to put the points on the board, and potentially for some of the players, you know, that time is running out to put the final points on the board to really change up the leaderboard. I think at this stage, you know, things have been pretty much solidified. I think we're not going to see all that much happen from here on out. You know, there's a potential for maybe some jumping here and there, but I think mostly, you know, as we go from game to game, that time definitely does start to run out. So yeah, a lot of teams just looking to put a final boom on the board for this final map of the evening. Maybe just get themselves in a couple of extra points, boost themselves up that leaderboard just a little bit. But of course, before they do that, they have to find the kills, they have to find the positioning, they have to find those placements. And that all happens here and now, as of course you can see some of the teams already making their rotations up into that zone. You can see Scincerity taking up residence right in the middle. Undisputed AE off to the east side of Los Leones at this point. We've got a couple of teams still in the west, but it's not as congested as before. Of course, the teams still have plenty of space in between one another, but I don't think that's going to last all that long. We still have 4 or 5 teams outside the zone, still have to get their way on across that line, but they should be able to do it no problem. One of the biggest things about this map is, of course, getting yourself into a position to actually move, to rotate, to get those vehicles. Make sure you have some method of transport, some way to get yourself across that line, especially if you're further away. We already have a couple of shots coming through. King's vehicle, very low on HP, going to force him to jump out and just join up with the buddies to carpool it over to where they want to rotate. And there's Lala catching out Stone with a really good spray down there. Going to even go for a bit of a thirst there, put some damage across. And, well, Stone just going to give it up. He knows he's been caught out. Nothing he can really do about that. Prime actually going to look for a little bit of recompense, though, on towards Lala. And some shots are definitely going through. Damage has been done, but no knocks can be acquired, and that's going to mean a pretty feels bad man time for him, as he will find no vengeance. He will find no leg up here in this situation, as Lala just going to be repositioning and trying to stay alive.
But again, not a major rotation coming in there from Lala, though. Just moving up onto the edge of that ridge line. And now we see the players there from Rainbow Six finding the shots. And, of course, that recompense, as you were talking about, coming in there. But now we also have the players here from UAE applying a bit of pressure onto the side here of NFxUnique. So we haven't seen much in today's games coming through from the side there of NFxUnique. So this is, again, is that opportunity for them to step up and prove what they've got. We're still looking to see whether or not they'll be able to bring any of those points home, any of the points that matter. They did, of course, finish up in 7th place on the previous game, acquiring the 3 points there, and of course bringing in 5 points in the previous match. So not the craziest amount of points. This is definitely that opportunity for them to try and make up the difference. But they are going up against the side here of UAE. They were able to find a few knocks and, of course, get that knock up in towards Matrix. But Matrix could potentially now get raised up as his team is moving in. But the shots are flying up in towards Expector. So this is a really good showing coming in from NFxUnique.
Yeah, some great stuff coming out here. Some damage being done. Inspector going down. Potato right here to try and make something happen. But with teammates being taken out and downed all over the place, what can he truly do? The Mini 14 doing some damage as it does. But is he going to be able to hold on for much longer is the question. You're going to turn tail and run for now. Maybe get a bit of a reposition in there and try and stay alive. Of course, you can see that zone shifting up once again, going towards the south. Things are going to get a little bit spicy for the teams up in the north. You can see Not Gaming still stuck out in the blue for the time being. It's going to start to get a little bit of a problem. It's, yeah, it's good to see things heating up. You can see the middle of that zone also got quite a number of teams in the centralized area there. Going to be quite happy with their situation for the time being. Potato off in the distance, trying to run, but you can't run. You can't hide. Muz going for it. Absolutely putting the hits in, and yeah, this is just the reality, you know, when you get torn apart like that. NFxUnique going to be quite happy with the pickup there, and yeah, just going to get some extra loot for themselves. We still have plenty of teams and players left remaining here on this map. And as we shift on up, moving in from zone 2, closer and closer towards zone number 3, things are only going to heat up from here. Hulk going after a little bit of a kill here, trying to see if he could spot anyone out, but the vehicles, of course, moving too fast. Prime just zooming across with that mini bus, repositioning up here with the last teammate. Hulk trying to go for the longer range shots, and definitely warranted on the map like this, but not the gun to make it happen. Does manage to put the shots in anyway. And of course, the explosion again to get rid of Prime. Shroud goes down, as well as Jeff puts the serious shots in there with that LMG. Things are starting to pick up all over the show. Shroud goes down as the natural killer is now being assaulted by Immortalz there. Everything slowly starting to heat up, and it's really good to see, because you have to make things happen on this map. That is really the name of the game when it comes to this map. You have to make things happen even more than in any of the 2 other maps that we play here and that we've seen today.
Yeah, but also, just to get to your gun comment there, you know, it's not the gun that matters, Batchy. It's the finger on the trigger. That's the one that matters. We've seen some absolutely phenomenal stuff happen, and of course the players just utilizing the weapons to their fullest potential. And now a big opportunity for that is coming, as we can see, of course, the teams now starting to converge down in towards that centralized portion of the zone. So things are going to get pretty hot and heated at an extreme pace, as we still have 14 teams remaining, 51 players still alive, and everyone is going to be looking for that little slice of the pie. As we can see, Bounds now taking a little bit of a beating as the shots are flying through, but they do have this ridge line, which you can see them, of course, now pushing up into a good vantage point for them to try and take up, as they do now also have another bit of company just positioned over towards their eastern side. So they moved from the one potential threat into another one, of course, just situated right here in front of them. And it's such a big threat that even Roshi is throwing himself off of heights.
Yeah, I mean, when you get excited enough, you know, it's just like all you want to do is just find the nearest cliff and be like, can I fly? You know, but PUBG, you know, there's no wings, there's no flying here. Unless you're in a vehicle and you're soaring through the sky off the side of a cliff, which we've seen plenty of times before, maybe just hitting the ground. It is possible, but Hulk is going to go down. In the meantime, Short Boy Slim looking for some damage right up ahead of him as well. You can see there is a little bit of a conflict brewing right here. No Braino going to go for the shots in there. Just clean that one totally up. Natural Killers getting the wipe straight off the board there, reducing us to 13 teams. Link's taking a little bit of damage there. Ultra 6 under fire, as the shots coming in from Immortalz as well, trying to find them the Mini 14, or should I say the finger on the Mini 14's trigger, doing some taps here and there, making some things happen. We'll see if anything comes of it. Sneaks putting some shots in towards Muzz as, well, they are just taking the fight all over the show. Gun under fire as well, as they're trying to put the hits across in towards Fear Chris, trying to catch them out. But here come the shots. Too much damage done. The nades being prepped as well. Not really a team you want to challenge, sitting right at the top of the leaderboard right now. Gun pretty much at the peak, at the apex at this point. Not really in a position to get undermined. Now going for the thirst in towards Chris, and maybe to take out the rest of the Fear players. Indeed, here come the shots. There comes the Thirst King now under fire in a tough spot. How is he going to get out of this one? No idea. Swags putting the shots in, but ultimately it looks like it might just be done and dusted. Short Boy Slim now pushing on up in towards him. They're just trying to play one for one, but it's not enough. The shot's coming through, and Short Boy Slim just going to clean them up, like mopping the floor. No problem. Swag's going to be the last one left for the team, and Fear on the back foot and going to get sent right back into the lobby.
Yeah, that was just a fearless push coming in there from Gun. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. And they clean up pretty well, I got to say. Finding themselves those 4 lovely points coming in from the squad wipe. But now, as we transition over towards the players here from Scincerity, they're, of course, now in a fight of their very own, going toe-to-toe with NFxUnique. We see just situated on the edge. Both teams, of course, fighting for that entry up in towards the zone. It is a slight bit of an uphill battle for the players here from NF. They've already been able to secure themselves 4 points. Will they be able to find any more? Of course, Scincerity looking to capitalize on the high ground advantage they have at their disposal. But of course, it is not going to be such an easy one to accomplish, as we do see the players here from NF slowly but surely starting to disengage. Since the players here from Ultra 6, though, Mr. Miyagi coming in with that wax on, wax off, as he just comes flying on in, finding the hits and putting a very abrupt end to the players there from Not Gaming.
Yeah, that Chicago typewriter coming in and typing up the letter that says, go back to the lobby. And indeed, that's what happens. Keish now under a little bit of pressure as teams moving in from the top of that hill, taking a bit of a sneaky snake pose here, seeing if maybe he can just stay under the radar for the time being. Not sure if it's going to work out, though. NF has to keep their weather eye up on the top of that hill as that blue zone starts to push the team right over the edge. We'll see if they can make it happen here. It's going to be a little bit of pressure, but NF, they're digging in for the long run here. They want to get this gatekeeping done. They want to get the points. They want to get some nice +1s on their ledger here to get a couple of extra points on this. You can see the zone has rotated down in towards the south once again. Shots coming through from Scincerity as they push past NFxUnique. Shots come through. Rogue goes down. That's going to be a little bit of a problem might just get thirsted as well because they're stuck out in the blue. It's going to be dealing damage, and Cage is just relentless with these nades, pushing up, not worried about anything. Just going to be tossing across, hoping that he can get some slam dunks, but hasn't found anything just yet. Silent going to be staying alive, juicing up with a little bit of that energy to try and take this fight. But with the blue now in position, Rogue, of course, going down here. Sneaks hits the deck as well. And that is going to mean that they are under some serious fire. They're just going to have to make the rotate as quickly as possible. Hops into the vehicle, takes it away. Goodbye. Not going to stick around for the fight. Now up comes BBC for the challenge. For luck, going to put some shots across, not finding anything just yet. Team rolls up for the assistance here. Can BBC find what they're looking for? They did manage to make it up quite high on that leaderboard in the previous game, but now they've got to make it happen once again. Silly at the top of this hill, going to be prepping some nades. Waiting for the push to come through. Up come the nades from both sides, but not going to land. Nihal, of course, has been taken down, but ultimately not enough damage has been done just yet. Sully very isolated from the rest of the team. Shots coming through. Python taking a fight with G3 as BBC now pushing across to the top there. Sully is not going to see him coming. Not even sure if he's paying attention at that point. But just going to take him out straight out of the game along with the rest of the team. Wiped out one by one by one. And now Mercury, the last one left to try and bring something back. But I'm not sure if he even has the position to do it at this point. He might just want to hide because BBC have managed to win the fight pretty much across the board here. And once Lord gets revived, they'll be in a pretty decent spot.
Man, we'll see whether or not those spots can work out for them. But now as we move over towards the north of the zone, we see the players here from G3. And of course, now the players here from Ultra 6 going toe-to-toe, trying to secure the region here. But, well, Ultra 6 reduced down to only a 2-man team. But G3 also only on a 2-man team with the potential there of Buden getting rest right back on up. Gunner, of course, now looking to put down the defensive play. But as we hop on over towards Mercury, we see a bit of that defensive play come through as well. He, of course, is the lone survivor for the Influence Rage team there. And BBC Law trying to now potentially find a bit of an approach there to get that entry up in to the compound. Of course, the team's opposition within the zone. You can see Gun now applying the pressure on it to the players there from Scincerity in the kill feed, as well as Mercury now just hoping to see whether or not one of the players here from BBC will be trying to push in so he can send those nades over and just try to blow a bit of a hole in their aggressive push. But there we go, quick rotation coming in as Mercury makes a run for it. Will Mercury be able to get out of it though? I mean, this is going to be a pretty tough one. Just finds a slight bit of hard cover ever so slightly up ahead. We also now still have the players there from Young Thunder position just north of his position, and up comes the head. BBC Lord sends it on through, and down goes Mercury. Cartel and Young Thunder, of course, now looking to make their very own play down in towards the southern edge of the zone. 9 teams remain, and it is still going to be a pretty hairy fight as we only see a few teams positioned within the zone. Of course, now expecting quite a few more rotations to come on in.
Yeah, 9 teams remaining, 28 players left alive here as the zone gets a whole lot smaller as we are in number 5 now. Superior going to get taken down as True pulls the trigger on that Mini 14. Illusion going to be up here looking to see if he could spot any of those peekers through, but not finding the angle that he's looking for. That's going to be the trouble of basically moving forward in this position. Squeak here on the one side, not getting run over by the vehicle, has its perks. Now able to bring it into top 10, which is great to see. Pounds getting exploded out of existence. G3 putting the shots across there. True explodes the vehicle to try and deal a little bit of that damage. Young Thundercats off to the one side in a bit of a tough spot, having lost one of their members. Rez has to come through, but the teams are rotating up. BBC manages to make their way across into that zone. Oh, but here come the shots. Mullins goes down. Quara going down as well as Ultra 6 tapping away there. True keeping an eye on this corner, making sure that the team are right up ahead of him and doesn't push through. Faye's going to go down as for luck, now getting hammered by Short Boy Slim there from Gun. NFxUnique looking across the way. And, we just see a nice little pop-up. Some of the new game updates, it looks like. looking kind of nice and spicy. There's shots coming through. Absolute mayhem ensues as these teams are trying to make their rotate up into that zone, but it's not going to be free at all. Lord just hammering away on that trigger, just pulling it back and waiting for the spray of bullets to rain down upon his enemies here. Shots coming through. Superior goes down. The Mini 14 doing the work. Phase getting taken out by the blue. Superior goes down as well. Ungodly hits the floor as he tries to push up. And this is where the teams get annihilated. This is where they get taken down as they try and enter the zone. 7 teams, 21 players now. But those numbers are dropping every single time.
Man, and it is only going to continue as we now wait to see what the players here from Young Thunder will bring and whether they're going to go rolling on through and potentially bring in a few more points. But of course, now BBC positioned over on towards that eastern side of the zone, keeping a very watchful eye on NFxUnique. As you can see, Cage now looking to make a quick dash there, but of course the shots come in. Ooh, tries to pull a Matrix move, but it doesn't work. Law now just finding that finishing blow and of course reducing the teams down to 6. So slowly but surely we are coming to the end here, as we can see BBC now looking to put the head up on towards the players there from Gun, who we have positioned just up on to the north of them. So quite a few interesting plays can come from this, but we look to see what the teams will bring, as we don't really see any teams already positioned within the zone. Everyone of course now just hugging that exterior, but we see Jeff now taking some initiative there, finding himself already within the zone. Young Thunder and Cartel still holding on. They did get those wrestlers back up, and now we look to see whether or not they're going to try and push in and secure themselves a decent play in this coming phase. Of course, now only a few seconds remain on the clock before that blue zone starts closing up once again. Cartel already now coming in with their rotations, looking to just find that approach, but BBC is up ahead. The shots come flying on through. Squeak gets knocked out, but they put quite a bit of damage into the side of BBC. You can see, of course, now we have Falak and the Lord, the 2 remaining hopefuls for BBC, looking to make a quick bit of a stand here. But now this is where Cartel is also potentially looking to get their numbers back up, as Falak comes swooping in from the side, getting the knock and first onto Squeak. And of course, with that, down it goes the whole team from Comfy Cartel. But BBC are not done just yet. They now turn their attention over towards Young Thunder, who are just absolutely obliterated as they try to rotate up in towards the zone. But the Immortalz, everyone in fact in the vicinity, bringing to the party here, everyone trying to contribute to the absolute chaos we are seeing on the map now.
Yeah, and it is to be expected as we have all of these players crammed into this small space here. They're just trying to put the shots across. Limited cover to utilize as well is going to make things difficult. The Immortalz with a nice spread of teams, or team players should I say, across this line, putting up a good fight towards all the surrounding teams. 4 of them remaining in total. Now the shots coming through from all directions. Gonna have to watch out pretty much everywhere at this point, because there are teams waiting to take you out. Right up in the north, there's a team. Right up in the west, there's a team. In the east, there's a team. In the south, there is a team waiting to take you out. But the question is, who is going to remain? G3 still alive for the time being. Flaker going to explode the vehicle, give himself a little bit of that cover. Plaza right at the top here, getting some nice angles in towards the Immortalz. They're going to have to knock a couple of these pins over to try and make something happen. Once this zone closes in again, it's going to be a really, really tough time, because who knows which direction it is going to go in. Of course, you can see the drop. A little bit of a shadow as it comes down off into the one side there, promising a hope for some of the teams, but to make the dash for that would basically be suicide at this point. Flaco getting taken out by a very nicely placed nade. Darkness just trying to keep himself alive, looking for the angle. Is going to be dipping behind some cover now and then, jumping around. Plaza trying to keep ahead of that blue, is going to be successful for the time being, but has to be careful for BBC moving up. Lord goes down now, has to be careful of the luck as well, but up comes the rest of the team to try and keep them alive. Gun trying to stay in this one. For luck now taking so much damage, and out he goes instantly. Taken down. There's Gun, not willing to go out just yet. Top 3 is where we're sitting now. The Immortalz looking very, very juicy up there with the numbers. Oh, Darkness bobbing around, gonna find the shots and actually wins the fight as well. That's some cheeky big brain dipping and ducking right there, dodging the bullets like this is some Matrix level stuff going on here. Plaza now at the top has to deal with so many players from the Immortalz pushing up. It's not enough. There's just not enough time to deal with all of those players pushing through, and Immortalz in instantly take him out. And Gunner not in a position to contest, immediately knocked, and Flako not in a good position either. This is basically done and dusted, as they will pick up that winner chicken dinner in serious fashion.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful play coming in there from the Immortals, securing themselves an absolutely fantastic chicken dinner. Of course, doing so in fashion with 8 kills on the board. G3 securing themselves that second position and just getting overwhelmed by the sheer number of the players still alive in this final phase. It was absolutely insane, but what a good play that was coming in from the Immortals. And of course, you got to give it to Gun, just holding up once again, all the way through up into that top 3. And this is actually no surprise. We did see the Immortals come in with a chicken dinner just in last week's Erangel. So nice bit of a momentum continuation we have there for the team of the Immortals, really doing some fantastic things there for their points. And this was an absolute challenging zone.
That it was, but the Immortals coming through with the winner chicken dinner. G3 Temper doing really well, as they usually do on Miramar. Patchy, what was your highlight of that particular match?
Honestly, it has to be that Matrix move we got from Darkness at the end there. That was just something else. I love to see stuff coming out like that. He was literally just matrixing all of those bullets. Like, he was unafraid. He was like, yeah, shoot me, it's fine. What are you going to do? I realized the truth, that there is no spoon. There are no bullets.
There is no spoon. There is no spoon. And listen, to be honest, like, that's what we like to see. You know, that's what they call dexterity with your fingers, man. Strafing left and right is just a key. Like, if you do that in any shooter game, if you're lucky with the fact that when you strafe to one side and the guy aims there and he's missing all his shots, it's very rare people adjust to compensate for the strafing. They usually just keep trying to catch you. And that's what makes up a very good matrix move. DK, what was your highlight of that particular game as well? I mean, apart from the matrixing.
Well, for me, it was also just the final push coming in from the Immortals. I mean, just the way, the sheer aggression they came in with on this game, just how they played these last few phases, absolutely phenomenal stuff, and really good to see them stepping it up, bringing it home on towards this last map of our first day of the last weekend. I'm trying to get as complicated as Dr. Sid usually makes it. But yes, you know, it was an absolutely good show.
20 something. I've lost track of the days, but yeah, it was just absolutely great showing, and it's good to see the Immortals coming through with a winner chicken dinner. This also, with the points coming in from GC Temper, has immense, if I'm not mistaken, immense effect on the standings, which we're going to be seeing in a very, very short moment. Just waiting to update because a lot of action happened in there. We have to make sure that we get the points tallied up properly before we present them to you, so you can actually see what's happening with the leaderboard. Now, I'm just going out on a limb here to ask, of all the teams that we're looking at in this tournament, like, who are you most worried about to take the drop? I would want to throw that to Patchy very quickly.
That is a very good question. Who do I think is going to take the drop, or who am I most afraid is going to take the drop? I think it's safe to say that it would be quite a disappointment if 4KT, for instance, were to drop down again, which obviously requires the teams around 4KT to do better, and also 4KT to not perform when they show up. So I don't think it's gonna happen, but I think if the question is what's going to be the most, like, sad thing, or like, what am I afraid is, like, you know, what are the things going to happen, I think that would probably be it, because we had a really nice redemption story from them. You know, this whole, they had a really tough time, you know, the scheduling and everything like that, and they couldn't do what they needed, and finally they were able to get in and try and put the work in, and they made it up. You know, they got out of relegation all the way from last spot, and to see them go out would be pretty sad.
DK, let's see what's going on with the names, numbers, flags, and logos. I didn't miss
Ooh.
anything out.
Yeah, you're getting good at this one now. You're getting good at it, Sid. Well done, well done. I'm impressed. You know, I'll give you two DK points for that one. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that's the first dishing out of points. But of course, speaking of dishing out of points, we are looking at the Immortals sitting up in that pole position. But what a good attempt it was across the board. I mean, we see such aggressive kills coming in. Immortals with 8. We got Gun finishing on 8. We got BBC coming in with a 10 kill finish. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. But G3, of course, securing themselves that 4th place, coming in there on their 16 points. But NFxUnique making up with the points as well, finishing strong on 7 kills, making up for that difference and being able to secure themselves that 5th place once again. So it is an improvement. They are showing a good amount of consistency. But of course, now as we've been able to establish, consistency is key, especially if the teams want to get out of that dreaded danger zone. And with a performance coming in like this, especially in the teams ending on this first page, I'm pretty convinced that they are away from any of those immediate dangers of getting potentially into that relegation zone. So it is looking up for them. But of course, now this is the page where the teams are a little bit more in that danger zone. Of course, Undisputed AE, they've got nothing really to worry about. They are safe at the top of the leaderboard. Drogons not having the best day so far. Natural Killers also having a bit of a tough run out in the desert. And of course, Fear, as we saw, just getting pushed on so aggressively as Gun came rushing in onto that party there. So it is looking pretty tough, especially on this last sheet. Now, Scincerity again, not having the best points. Finishing up in 10th place though. It is not the worst position, but it is far from the best.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment that we have all been waiting for. What the updated leaderboard looks like.
Ooh.
Patchy, tell us what we are seeing.
Oh man, almost 300 points for Gamers Unite Nations there at the top of that leaderboard, looking really close to it, almost breaching that. I think they'll be able to break that 300 mark, I think, by the end of this one. Undisputed AE very, very close, but certainly the gap has been widened just a little bit. They're sitting on 275 points in 2nd place. G3 Temper, of course, having made their way up into 3rd, solidifying them, of course, as the team that we know that they are, a team to be reckoned with, sitting in 3rd position for the time being, followed closely in 4th by Ultra 6. Of course, down we have Immortalz as well. Down in 5th, in 6th, we have Pain Africa. In 7th, we've got Influence Rage Africa. And in 8th, we've got BBC. So BBC making it up onto page number 1. Definitely something that I am quite happy to see, as I have enjoyed watching BBC move their way up the leaderboard and really show us quite an improved game from what we saw in the first couple of seasons. Of course, moving on into the 2nd page here, we've got Aphelion Apex heading that up in slot number 9 with 164 points. There in 10th place, we've got NFxUnique with 161. 11th place, we've got Zero Tolerance Skills with 158. In 12th, we've got Lag with 140. In 13, we've got Young Thundercats with 129. In 14, we've got Scincerity with 121. In 15, we've got 4KT in 117 points there. In 16th position, we've got Rainbow Six Madagascar with 105. And this is what I was saying, it would be sad to see 4KT drop back down into the relegation page. So hopefully they can stay afloat here. They still have a chance to make that happen, of course, coming up in the rest of the weekend. But here comes the danger zone on towards the next page. This is the relegation page, headed up by Black Clover, sitting in 17, Euphoric Gods in 18, Fear in 19, Not Gaming in 20, Natural Killers in 21, the Comfy Cartel in 22, Rain from Hell in 23, and the Drogons in 24. So basically, sitting at the bottom of that last page is not looking good, but it is possible to make it out. But of course, if that needs to happen, it needs to happen basically right here, right now, over this weekend is the last chance that really it can be done. So some of these teams looking to make it up maybe out of that relegation spot, we wish them the best. But of course, if you want to see that happen, if you want to see the potential for maybe a little bit of a switch up, then you just have to stay tuned for the rest of the weekend.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you do have to stay tuned for the rest of the weekend. At this point in time, I'm going to say big thank you to DK and Patchy for doing such an amazing job. These guys always bring their A game when it comes to the Umzansi Esports League and, of course, in everything that they do. My name is Dr. Sid. We have been here, Cutscene Nodwin Gaming, and bringing you the best in PUBG Mobile. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to stay tuned because tomorrow we'll be back with more action as more of these teams fight to get their way to the top into the finals and for part to get their part of that prize pool. Ladies and gentlemen, good night, and I will see you tomorrow.